Peace, fam. I hope all is well. Hope your day is going well. I hope what's today? Today, Tuesday. Today's Tuesday. That's right. Today's Tuesday. I hope your Tuesday is going well. Hope you had a great day. Well, the day's not over yet, depending where you're at. But I hope your day's off to a great start. Do me a favor, guys, as you come into the chat room again, as you come into the chat room, please hit that like button. Again, please hit that like button. Also, please share. And also subscribe. If you are new to the platform, we would love for you to join the Search for Uhuru family. Again, we would love for you to join the Search for Uhuru family. So hit that like button, share, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Marie. Marie, I'm kind of on time, Marie. You said come back in 10 minutes. Dynasty's on color people's time. Well, I'm here. I say I'm here. So you said that at 12:05, and we went live 3 minutes later at 12:08. So shame on you, Marie. Shame on you. Once again, guys, thank you for joining. Again, thank you so much for joining. Let's see here. Announcements. Documentary, plan on releasing it in 9 days. I will keep you guys posted. Again, I plan on releasing the documentary in approximately 9 days. If there's any delays, I'll let you know. But it's done. Everything's finished. Trailer is up. Everything is done. So plan on releasing that in 9 days. Marie, you know you good, Marie. I'm just giving you a hard time. I got to give you a hard time, Marie. It's all good. Got to give you a hard uh, time. Here we go. COVID vaccinations begin for U.S. children under 5. Why? 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 I don't. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Oh well, crazy. You trying to go to a Goon festival? Where they're supposed to have one here in Atlanta. I don't know if they already had it. I don't know if it's this weekend, but they're supposed to have an Agungun festival here in Atlanta, and I know they got the one going on in Nigeria. I think it's this month as well. In August, we're going to the Oshun Festival. Again, in August, we're going to the Oshun Festival in the Oshun Festival in Oshun Oshobo Festival. So, if you'd like to join us for the Oshun Oshobo Festival, please let me know. Make sure you visit Danfo, 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 Danfo .Africa. Again, please visit Danfo, sorry, Danfo .Africa. If you will love to join us in Nigeria. So just go to the site, scroll down, and then click on the Nigeria 2022 Oshun Festival Tour. We would love to we would love to have you. Is it as powerful as the one festival in Nigeria? What's the one festival? I don't know. I don't know about the one festival in Nigeria. Never heard of it. What's the one festival, Bryant? But yeah, but go to again. So once again, go to what's your vision for Black people? I'm gonna Reptile. I'm going to do a separate video. I'm glad you reminded me on that. Hold on, let me write that down. I'm gonna do a separate video on that one day soon this week. What are the solutions? Because people are always asking, Dynas, what's the solutions, brother? What are the solutions, brother? What are the solutions, Dynas? What are the solutions? That's people are always asking, Dynas, what are the solutions, man? So you know what? I'm gonna give y'all some solutions. Might not be what you want to hear, but that's what I'm gonna do. No, of course not. No, the one here in Atlanta, nothing against the Ogugu Festival here in Atlanta. But no, the Gugu Festival here in Atlanta is nothing like the one in Nigeria. No, not at all. Not even close. It's basically for people who can't make it to Nigeria. They do something here, but it's not even close. It's not. It's not the same. Definitely not the same. Shout out to Earl Allen in the chat room. But yeah, it's definitely not the same experience. I can tell you that right now. You'll get the original, authentic. Nothing against the Agugun Festival here in the States or uh, here in Atlanta. Nothing against it, but yeah, you're gonna get the real experience. Errol, Errol Allen. Here, let me. When you give solutions, they will find problems. That's my point. So yeah, I got some solutions, but I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna have a problem with what I have to say in regards to the solutions. In fact, I might do a show later on this evening on the solutions. But Larry, we no, so we go to the river, we make our prayers. I put my hands in the water, take a little bath. When I go to the ocean, make my prayers, put some water on myself when I make my prayers at the Ocean River. So I do that. Try to find your nonprofit sent you a text. David, I didn't get a text. Hold on. When you text me, David? David, when did you text me? David, I don't have a text from you. Here's the nonprofit. That's the nonprofit right there. Okay. Well, David, that's the nonprofit right there. That's the nonprofit, David, right there on the screen. So that's it right there. Yeah, I damn near get into the water. Excuse my language. When I go to the Oshun Festival to the river. So everyone, that's the site. We'll love to have you. We got a couple spots remaining, so please come and join us. Also, Sierra Leone for the Sierra Leone tour, homecoming tour, um, November 20th through December 3rd. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. Again, citizenship is available to those who qualify. Hit me up for details. Again, hit me up for details. Go to dafo.africa. Again, that's for Sierra Leone, November 20th through December 3rd. Then we got Nigeria coming up, Oshun Festival, August. I didn't even share the dates. August 8th through the 17th. August 8th through the 17th for the Oshun Festival. And then for Sierra Leone, November 20th through December 3rd. We'll love to have you come and join us. Again, come and join us. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. I gotta blow my nose. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, so that's what's going on, everyone. That is what is going on. So I want to start off with Juneteenth. Guys, hit the like button. Also, I'll put the link in the chat room. If you guys want to call in and add to the conversation, you are more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. Again, if you want to call in and add to the conversation, you are more than welcome to call in and add to the conversation. We'll love to hear your input and your feedback. And also, don't be. Oh, I got to give a couple shout outs real quick for the Cash App. Hold on 1 second. To everybody that contributed via Cash App. Here we go. Bam. Jason, thank you for the Cash App. Keisha, thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also, don't mind super chatting as well. Oh, let me get the banner going. Bam, there we go. So, Juneteenth, man, we talk about this. And a lot of people, they get upset when I say this. We got to start holding each other accountable, especially with the violence situation um, in our community, in our Black community. So we had Juneteenth, right? We had Juneteenth celebration this past Sunday, well, really over the weekend. Yesterday was the federal holiday, and that is to celebrate, I guess the end of slavery, or in Texas, slaves didn't know they were free until 3 years after the fact, when I forgot the name of the general from the Union Army came and told them, like, listen, you guys can get off the plantation now. You guys can get off the plantation. You're free. So I know we had a couple incidents, and I started to look this up. Again, I started to look this up. It seems like every Juneteenth celebration, at these celebrations, there's a shootout and somebody is getting killed. Again, every Juneteenth celebration, I don't know what it is. Why can't we as Black people just go one day? Just go. Nico, your devices aren't connected. Why can't we as Black people just go one day? Again, just go one day without shooting each other. Nico, go ahead.
Hey brother, how are you doing? I've been trying real quick and then get out of here. Seriously need to have a
Hey, Nico, your connection, you're going in and out, brother.
okay. Can you hear me now?
That's a little bit better. Go ahead.
Oh, we seriously I want to meet with you, Dynast. We need to have a change of strategy and I'm now I have the funds. Yes, now we have the funds. Um and 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 I will be funding this new movement. Because you're absolutely right. They say near-death experience, changes the way we view things, which is very true. And then right off the bat, boom, like clockwork, you started speaking of accountability, and I love that. I love that. So we're gonna we it, so I have new things. I'm not even gonna talk about it on here. But we need to talk face to face on person. And just to show you that I'm real, when I'm ready, I will send you on generous amount just to show appreciation of the work that you have done, and it will be me, you, Sanana, because Sanada, he's done a lot of work for the community. He means well, we done a lot of work, but it's time to change strategy. We need to change the strategy, that's for sure, and we need accountability because at the end of the day, if we don't change, nothing's gonna change. So we're gonna have a change strategy, and that's all I've been trying to say. Um, I'm gonna get out of here now. I know you want some people to come in here and stay on topic and stuff like that.
All right, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate your support, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, talk to you soon. Yeah, but it's something that, again, we don't want to hold certain people accountable. We want to sweep this under the rug. We want to blame white supremacy. We want to focus on immigrants. But there's an issue in Black America where we cannot stop killing each other. To the point, so somebody brought up a shooting that happened in Washington, D.C., I think this past Sunday, Juneteenth celebration. So all I did was just type in shooting Juneteenth, Washington, D.C. But it seems like every single, listen, we are shooting each other more on Juneteenth than we are July 4th, damn near. So the day that we celebrate uh, the day that we're supposed to celebrate our freedom, we still out here shooting and killing each other. Like we can't go a holiday, we can't go a day without shooting and killing each other. It's crazy. It's crazy. And every time we bring it up, oh, what about the other communities? The other communities kill each other too. It's again, I don't understand it. I don't get it. We got to stop shooting each other. We got to put these guns down. Again, hold on. Let me pull up let me put up the article real quick. It's just like I said, we cannot go even a holiday without shooting each other. And panic over. Hold on one second, guys. Let me get this set up. But again, I'm sorry. We can't go a holiday without murdering each other.
Overnight in the streets of Washington, D.C. at a Juneteenth festival when gunfire erupted. And this morning, the suspect is still at large. Mary Alice Parks has the latest from D.C. Good morning, Mary Alice.
Michael, good morning. It was one of those summer nights where everyone was out and about trying to enjoy the weather. And then all of a sudden, police rushing in from every direction to this area that was just packed with people. Overnight chaos and panic in the streets of D.C. after gunfire erupted at a packed Juneteenth concert and festival. Police say the unauthorized event was being shut down after a series of fights and issues with the massive crowd.
No, that is straight up gunshots.
And then around 8:30 p.m., a gunman opening fire, killing a teenager police say was 15 years old and injuring 3 others, including a D.C. police officer.
With guns involved and with our police managing a crowd on site, somebody used a gun and a child is dead.
Witnesses recording as medics and police rush to aid the wounded and terrified concertgoers flee for safety. Other people injured as a result of their legs and ankles being trampled while trying to leave the area. Officials say multiple guns were recovered in the aftermath, but the weapon used by the suspect is nowhere to be found this morning.
All it takes is one person introducing a gun to the situation that makes it deadly. In this case, we need to make sure that individuals are held accountable for their actions.
Now, D.C. confirming to us that the teenager who died was just 15 years old. The police officer was shot in the leg. He's in stable condition, as are the other 2 victims. Robin.
So tragic. Mary Alice, thank you. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos,
15-year-old killed at a Juneteenth celebration. I mean, it's getting to the point now. Like, we can't have nice things. So Snow Daddy Biden gave y'all a federal holiday and y'all shooting that up. Again, your snow god, Snow Daddy, Joe Biden, gave you guys a federal holiday. Gave you guys a holiday. And y'all tearing that up. See, we can't appreciate nice things. We can't appreciate nice gestures. We just tear everything up. Did you listen to what he said? There was constant fights, a bunch of fights, then led to a shootout. in the nation's capital, right, right around the corner from Joe Biden's house. Again, right around the corner from Joe Biden's house. We cannot have nice things. It's embarrassing. And you got people who continue to make up excuses on this. Black Lives Matter. This 15-year-old boy just got murdered. I guarantee you, Black Lives Matter will be nowhere to be found. Will be nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Black Lives Matter. Nowhere to be found. Like every other day, especially here in Atlanta, youth are getting killed every other day. Teenagers getting killed every other day here in Atlanta. Teenagers are getting killed every other day here in Atlanta. And it's embarrassing, guys. Links in the chat room. Again, link is in the chat room. If you'd like to call in, click on the link. Again, if you'd like to call in, click on the link. We got America's First Rifleman who's hopping on. All right, America's First Rifleman, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say a quick word, and I'm gonna keep saying this. I think we got like 61 or 62 days before the executive order that goes through for having another definition for what a firearm is. So I'm telling all Black people, go buy a polymer 80% lower for a pistol and rifles too, but it's really for pistols. They've changed the definition of what a rifle is, or what a firearm is. So just look up polymer 80% arms. Look up these things, protect yourself. Start doing what's necessary before prices start rising on components for you to either build a weapon or ammunition. So that's pretty much all I want to say, because look, these super gremlins, the people out here that look like me and you.
Did you say super gremlins?
Yeah, there's another YouTube channel I watch, because there's this song that Kodiak Black came out with called Super Gremlins. So, and it's pretty much talking about how young Black people are going in the street and showing their behind and being destructive towards other people. And then there's another YouTube channel called Black Gen Z Mindset. So go look that brother up. He highlights a lot of what goes on in Atlanta. I mean, he's based in Atlanta, but he talks about other cities and crime in the Black community. So a black Gen Z mindset. But anyway, so he calls them super gremlins. That's what he says. So anyway, these young kids have no mercy, no conscience. It doesn't matter how they got there, but you need to protect yourself, your friends, and your family when you're out and about. Even though this summer, I'm telling Negroes, work your ass off this summer. Don't be worried about playing and splashing around and trying to go to the club and all that, because people out here acting a fool, especially after COVID. There's a lot more crazy people. So go ahead and get you some guns, get trained, and work with your friends and family.
Hold on. I agree. I definitely agree. Go ahead, Kala.
Oh yeah, I only got a couple minutes, but hey, what's up, Rifleman? What's up, Dynasty?
Hey, Kala, your sound is, like
okay,
the AC blowing. I don't know what's going on.
I'm gonna take off, y'all.
Let me turn the AC off. Okay, can you hear me better now?
It's still like static in the background.
Yeah, so because I'm driving. Let me try to just make it quick. I just want to make it quick. First of all, good topic and everything, and we'll talk about this lately. The people like Jason Black came up the other day saying, "Oh, let's talk about black on black crime as a distraction." What this tells me and proves all that Jason Black does not give a damn about black people. He does not socialize with black people. He's not around black people. So people who are not around black people, they isolate themselves for owning with black people's dollar and trauma and give you trauma porn and trauma stuff to whip you up white supremacy. No end in sight. Jason Black only concern is the black relationship with white people. We're more concerned about black relationship and the black on black crime is destroying the black people's relationship with each other. Okay, that's the most important people. The people who don't care about this, right? The Tariqs and all these other people, they don't care about black relationship with each other because anybody who cares about black people, the black community, will understand this is the most important thing right now. The fact that we can't, you knew it and I knew it that this was going to happen on Juneteenth. You knew it, Dinah, you knew it. We all knew it. You saw the first year they had the Juneteenth last year, I believe, and you had all these older black people. I love me some Joe Biden black people, right? When the shots rang out, you had old ladies in their walkers running for their life and whatnot, This is utterly ridiculous. And every weekend, someone's getting shot, someone's getting killed in my area, your area, all around the country. And for somebody to say that this is just a distraction by the media, the news. We're not getting this from the news. We're getting this from each other. So how can this be a distraction? So a distraction for what? That we have this long fight for reparations. That's what take our fight off the reparations, talk about black on black crime. No, black on black, no, nigga. Black on black crime is freaking real. I lost 3 cousins to this shit. I lost lots of people to this stuff, to the streets. It's real. And not only that, and he said that one guy, Gen Z Mindset, really check him out on YouTube. That young brother is really, really good, as far as his content. It's a mindset right here. No one cares about human life. And like I said, black life does not matter, apparently, to us. And so that's all. That's what I wanted to say. And anybody who says this is not a problem, it's just a distraction, these people aren't serious. The usual suspects will come in the chat room. Oh, it's not a problem. It's overblown. Black on black crime is overblown. Okay. 80 black people in New York City make up 90% of all murder victims, right? 90% of all people who don't those murder victims are other black people, right? So it's another one. Basically, in the United States, black males are 6% of the population, but yet we account for 60% of all homicides. But yeah, that's not a problem. They'll say white people kill other white people, but not like we do, not on a daily basis, not to the point that they're tearing communities apart. But black people can't even live or socialize by each other. If you take away the natural things like socialization, you remember, Dice, when you was a kid, those good times, places you went to, and you had good times. Those memories, which you build upon. Yeah, when I was a kid, we used to go camping, we used to go here. That used to be our hangout spots where the guys meet girls and everything. This generation doesn't have that. So what do they have to build for in the future? Future is just nothing but a rehash of the past, a continuity. So if the kids don't have nothing but death and destruction in their past, that's what they're going to have in the future. And we're starting to see the fruits of that right now. So that's what I wanted to say, Dennis, bro. Before I hop on, I got to get back to work.
All right, for sure, brother. Thank you for joining. And we rising up tomorrow night, right, Kala?
Oh yeah, of course. We got to, man. We'll continue this conversation.
All right, for sure.
All right, brother.
All right, for sure. Peace. All right, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room, guys. Call in if you'd like to add to the conversation. Again, link is in the chat room. I appreciate you guys' contribution, to the platform. I love to hear from y'all. See, one thing about me, I don't mind hearing different viewpoints. Like, I don't mind hearing different viewpoints. We don't have to agree on everything. Again, we don't have to agree on everything. I do not mind hearing different viewpoints because people are going to have different mindsets. People are going to have different opinions. I don't mind hearing them. So, yeah. So, guys, I know we were discussing crypto yesterday and real estate and stocks. Listen, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. This is not financial. Andrew, I just put up that article. It's sad. It's a shame. It's a shame. I just put up the article. Owner of a soul food restaurant killed during violent weekend in Baltimore. We can't put the guns down. It's sad. It's sad. But let me get back to the David Brooks. Let's see here. Go ahead, David.
Is that my feedback?
Let me mute myself. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just jumping in because you brought the magic word Bitcoin. I was.
Oh yeah. No, so I wanted to shift it. Bitcoin versus real estate, and as we know, and guys, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. Again, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. Okay, there we go. Obviously, Black people are being priced out of real estate here in America. Like real estate is getting expensive. People are being priced out. So my thing is an asset that's easy for Black people to access is Bitcoin. Is it considered an asset? You're muted.
Yeah. So Bitcoin to me is, I only use it to purchase other coins. I understand that it is a store of value. And okay, so you buy Bitcoin not because it's going to a million, but because it's another form of assets to allocate your fiat, right?
Well, I bought it as far as is an asset and is a storage of wealth. So that's why I bought it.
But you're not looking at it to go into $1 million and make you rich overnight, right?
Well, I know it's not going to make me rich overnight. I know it's not going to $1 million at tomorrow. Okay. I know that, yeah.
Okay, so because now you were saying that Bitcoin is so it's fast and cheap.
Correct.
Okay. And the platform you're using this on is PayPal.
No, so on my Donfo site, when people pay me.
Donfo. Okay.
Yeah,
I went to that website. Yeah, I went to that website.
Right. So on my website for my tour company, I accept Bitcoin.
Okay.
So me accepting Bitcoin is less expensive to settle than fiat.
Now, how are you diversifying your Bitcoin once you get it?
I either hold it or I put it on an exchange. I might buy other crypto, but it just depends.
So are you participating in stablecoin liquidity pools?
I'm not doing any stablecoins. I'm out. Ever since Luna, I'm not dealing with. The only stablecoin I deal with is USDC because it's actually backed by the dollar.
Well, yeah, that would be what I tell people about getting the USDC liquidity pools that they have in some platforms like crypto.com and whatnot, because it allows you to put, the stable coin into these pool programs and get like a high percentage yield return. And, I wanted that guy with from yesterday who was talking about the pie charts, and, he sounded very confident, and I hope that he gets back on because we kind of ended prematurely in regards to, where we as a people need to focus our interest in money. And like you said earlier, it's real estate in regards to being priced out is also a learning curve. And the same thing is applied to cryptocurrency. And what I try to tell people is, it's like the difficulties in real estate is the same in crypto, but the difference is you're getting into a new technology, a new opportunity that as you learn, you get a quick or you'll get a more fulfilling return of your understanding you will in real estate. And so, I would like to see if there was someone else that could object to that, or maybe you can.
Say that one more time.
So the learning curve of the two. So buying into real estate, if I get the camera right, buying into real estate, you have to, know your demographic value, what the resale value is. You have to figure out what is going into your zoning development, if they're going to put another Starbucks over there, or if they plan on bettering schools, and your long-term, investment, and when you're going to double it in regards to that. And the same thing can be applied in cryptocurrency. So you are investing in Bitcoin platforms. Now, when you invest in Bitcoin platforms, are you
When you say
understanding?
Bitcoin, no, I invest in Bitcoin. Not when you say platforms. What do you mean Bitcoin platform?
Well, the blockchain.
Okay.
So Bitcoin blockchain is what allows it to go in value because of the use, because people are
Right.
putting their technology or platforms within the Bitcoin blockchain for things to happen. The reason why your website is able to receive payments through Bitcoin because there is a platform that you're using that you was able to attach to your website, so people can send money from whatever account they have onto your account. So someone created that, and they created that on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain. So that's what I mean by that. And that's
Okay.
how the value of all cryptocurrencies essentially are increased by the use case, not
No,
necessarily, who's holding most of it. It's
Right.
mostly
Adoption. Right.
And one of the things that people don't understand is that the volatility that people are referring to, it's nothing more than regulatory clarity. The second, the SEC and Ripple finishes their lawsuit, they will be the
Right.
first coin that will receive the official federal regulatory clarity.
Once there's regulatory clarity, I know like the company I used to work for, Centos, Fortune 500 company, very, very conservative. They won't invest in anything crypto related or even Bitcoin unless there's some type of framework from the SEC, from the government stating what it is, how you can put it on your balance sheet and whatnot. So once that happens, then you'll start seeing a tsunami of these what's the word I want to use? Not retail. Well, even retail investors, but also
like institutional
institutional investment coming in.
Now, on a side chart, or a side bid, if we can. I'm a nationalist. I wouldn't refer myself necessarily as ADOS and FBA only to distinguish myself. And there was a few cases where I watched, you've pulled back. You've became more diplomat than antagonistic, and I appreciate that. You let Brandon do the work now. So I respect that. Now, I keep referring to your nonprofit because I remember watching another one of your lives, and a guy was, because we're always talking about solutions on top of the subject matters, and I'm like, well, you're doing stuff not only in tours, but you're doing stuff within the diaspora, and I felt like, I know you don't do wealth building videos anymore because of whatever reason it is, but I just don't hear you really presenting your nonprofit projects as much as you should be.
Okay, I need to step it up and do it more then.
Because that's another thing. Now, with the I'm trying to be a Pan-Africanist. So I'm born and raised in America, San Diego, California, and my wife is Jamaican. So residency there, and then I'm looking to attach myself to the motherland, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out. I've been looking at your tour. Just need to find the time to go on and pull the trigger and do that. But of course, I need to have the ancestries to even figure out that, or better yet, the time and investing and just putting into maybe a visa or residency and just do it the long way. But and with all the discussions that we've been having, or you guys have been having, and I know some of the people that have been advocating to stay in the States haven't been really, convincing. But is like right now with the situation with Juneteenth, which is I don't know why we're celebrating Juneteenth when we're supposed to be celebrating December 18th, 1865. I don't understand that.
Well, what's December 18th?
That was when the Constitution added that freedom. That's when slaves were actually freed in December 18th.
Oh, okay.
And so, but we're doing 3 years later on Juneteenth, and that's that to me. I mean, I understand, but if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And
right.
There's a few groups that have been kind of like anti it because they're like, yo, this is something for Texas people because it's very unique. This is like Texas were the last people to hear about it, as they say. And so that's,
Right.
why are we all celebrating a time where, people, were last to know? It's
Last
almost,
enough, right?
it's almost
3 years.
embarrassing.
I think it was 3 years after the fact, 2 or 3 years after the fact.
Right. And so, there people are talking about this is supposed to add talking points to the narrative of reparations or whatever. I'm like, how is highlighting a point in which people were last to know a good talking point in regards to slavery or atrocity or the critical race theory that they're inhibiting? Like, wouldn't we want to focus on the actual dates as opposed to Juneteenth?
Okay.
So, but that's those are the things that I'm wondering about. But are you so focused on sending everyone to Africa to build, or are we going to work on projects domestically and then synergize the two?
I say we could synergize too, and I've also said it doesn't have to be Africa. I mean, it's to the point now. Panama, Mexico, is relatively easy to gain your get residency. Caribbean countries. I'm just saying. Basically when it comes to Black people, we should be building an international plan. Africa plan. I'm Africa first, but I know everyone isn't into Africa, which is their business. But we should be creating and building an international plan. We should be looking outside of the borders of America. So just have a plan, like Simplest Academy said. Just have a plan outside of America. Period.
And that's why I feel like your nonprofit could be very universal in regards to that. Not only doing projects in Africa, but having those, subtle GoFundMes, if you want to call it, or fundraisers, and having those initiatives where, individuals. Because one thing, I don't think you get your flowers enough here. Like, I've been trying to Cash App you, but for whatever reason, my card is not being accepted. And so I just have to maybe Cash App you or go through your nonprofit to figure that out. But I wish we were more action oriented, and after all of these discussions, because they kind of leave us, thought provoking, but without action. And how do we engage that?
As far as being action oriented.
Yeah, in regards to like at the end of the discussions,
what happens
instead of like last words, an action step of, all right, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. And have it tied behind your nonprofit.
Okay. I think coming with some type of bullet points or actual plan or ideas, like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. Let's go.
Hi, Dynast.
Hey, go ahead, African Hour.
Hi, David. Nice to see you. Good conversation yesterday. Just to the very last point you made, which is action plan. Dynast, I am going to text you after this some very, very important information. We need to have a conversation because it ties into what he just talked about, which is an action plan. Couple of things that we need as a group. We need think tanks. We need to create think tanks. And what since we have a large audience, let me just define what it is. It's a group of people or an organization that pool their knowledge and they put emphasis on a particular subject or subject area, and they develop expertise. They either bring it into the group or they have it themselves. But the point is that from that, you can then advise government, you can advise companies, you can advise just about any entity that needs advice. And that is very, very, very important. We have to put that together because these conversations, they need to be structured and they need to have definitive purposes and goals. So, David, I think that's what you were asking for. Like, what exactly, as a group, when we have these conversations, they're cool. You learn a lot. But what comes out of this? What can each person listening, or a number of people listening, what can they do specifically? Yesterday's conversation, we talked about the services behind some of these cryptocurrencies, the value added. There's a lot of what. Here is my having worked with this technology for so long. Here's what I'm seeing that's missing, and I think you hinted on it yesterday, and in fact you mentioned it yesterday, but I'm going to expand on what you said. And that is, as a group, we tend to come to the table after everybody else has been at the table, and they have sort of figured out the how the table works, and so they can make money. So when we hear something like blockchain, most of our experience is going to be if we interact with it in the form of cryptocurrency or some version of something like that. But what we don't realize is that the blockchain technology itself can be used for so many things. And we can create the initial entity. For example, we could create our own currency if we wanted to. But we need to sort of be in the creative process where we create and then allow people to come in and exploit or use or utilize the thing that we created. So people who created these currencies, a lot of these currencies, the primary beneficiary are the ones who set it up at first, because they obviously are the ones who set it up. So they're going to have pretty good access to, for example, Bitcoin. The algorithm, the way it's set up, if you were part of the original, whoever they said did it, I think they said a Japanese guy, but it doesn't really matter. The point is that if you were early on, let's say the first 2 years, you could mine a Bitcoin with a tiny little Atari computer, because those early initial tokens were easy. The longer it goes on, the harder the tokens become, because it's a for people who might not know this, it's a what do you call that number? Prime number. And prime numbers get really complex as you start to get really large, and that's why you need all these computing power now. My point there is that the initial people who made the killing when Bitcoin was zero, when Bitcoin literally had no value except a few guys on a channel talking about, hey, we're going to create this currency. We need to be in that process. In other words, we need to start to be part of that creative process. And the way we do that, because in our community, we have a lot of knowledge, but the knowledge is not pooled. It's not organized. A tiny little church with 5 members or 10 members can do a lot of things with the few collection they get, because the money is organized. A large community not organized can't really do much. So there are quite a number of things that we as a community need to do. From an investment perspective, we need to start to think, how do we create investments that that we are the initiator of it, right? If I have a great idea, right?
Hey, one second after always. Hey, Brandon, thank you for super chat, brother. I'm going to take that $2 and buy me some Bitcoin. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you.
Brandon, you're the best. I like Brandon, actually. He's got spunk and fight. So that's a good thing. So what I'm getting at here is that from a group perspective, we are not paying attention to all that is in front of us from an investment perspective. We can create with blockchain lots of services where we are the originator of the services and introduce it to the public, just like how these other entities are doing it. Almost 90% of the big currencies, the bigger valued currency, is not created by us. And I don't have a problem with anybody creating currency. My point is that we need to start to think that we can do it. We don't just need to jump on everybody's bandwagon. We need to start to ask ourselves as a group, how do we get the expertise? Because on that panel last night, there were a lot of people with lots of knowledge. And I learned quite a few things. And I'm sure everybody learned something. But if that group met on a regular basis and talked about what they could do with the knowledge that was pooled right there, a lot could be accomplished. The other thing that I'm going to throw something out new that I think we should all consider. When I think it was 1983 or 84, a black lieutenant colonel was kidnapped in Syria. And Jesse Jackson went to Syria to bring him back home. I forgot what the name of the gentleman is, but he went there and he brought him back home. And somebody asked Ronald Reagan a question. He said to them, and the question was a devious question. The question was, is Jesse Jackson, first of all, going against the government's interest to go negotiate with these people? One. And two, what do you have to say about it? And you could see that the reporter was setting it up for Reagan to slap Jesse Jackson. And he said something really slick. He said, one cannot quibble with success. One cannot quibble with success. In other words, he didn't pick up the bait. He realized that it's a good thing. So why fight a good thing? Now, when we talk about Africa and the whole idea of this Pan-Africanism, everything can coexist. If somebody wants to stay here, let them stay here, because the reality is that in any movement from the dawn of time, only a small number of people actually are the initiator of anything. And then the masses see the benefit and says, I want in. So we're never going to convince most people in America to go to Africa. You know how you'd convince them? If when their friends come back, their friends left with an empty pocket or a near empty pocket, and they came back with a pocket full of money. It would be like the gold rush. You wouldn't have to convince. You don't have to. People know what's in their interest.
You're right.
Yeah. So what we need are some examples. Right now, the Atlanta airport, and I'm touching on a whole bunch of subjects, but the Atlanta airport was built primarily by Black contractors. Every single year in Africa, we have lots of airport contracts, billions of dollars in airport contracts being awarded, and not one goes to an African-American construction company. Why? Because
African always. From my understanding, the airport in Sierra Leone is supposed to get renovated, and I think it's a Black American company that won the bid. I haven't found.
Awesome. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Now I want to hear the same thing for all these other airports, because our cousins back home they're giving contracts away, and we are in America not a clue that these contracts are out there. So in America and the West, there is over $2 trillion in knowledge and assets that we have access to. If you take only 10% of that and bring that to Africa, it'll be the transformation in Africa would be overnight, and the wealth generated for people here and people in the diaspora would be off the chart, literally off the chart. So I started an entity called Kubwa.com, Kuubwa. You guys can take a look at it. But it was built around the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Do you know, Dynast, that someone in Kano, which is northern Nigeria, could be making solar panels, and somebody in southern Nigeria, let's say in Port Harcourt or something like that, is buying solar panels from China and have no idea there's a place up in north making solar panels? This is the things we take for granted here is a money maker elsewhere. We don't have the continent needs us. It needs our expertise. It needs our knowledge. and we need them because they have tons of resources. So the idea or the concept behind
African always. Can I ask you a question? Why
Sure.
hasn't solar, like even in Africa, but why hasn't solar really caught on?
Man, there are a lot of reasons.
I know absolutely no one. Like I still see the commercials. You know, get your solar panels. The government subsidize it and all this other stuff. I don't know one person with solar, even in Africa.
You know, it's a good. It's actually a good question, and that question actually, the answer to that question also talks. I mean, has some implications. For one, take a country like Nigeria, where the power situation is atrocious, and I say atrocious with and that's probably the good side of it. It is the country with the most mini generators, and no country can survive and thrive without proper power. But what happens in Africa is if you take a house, a standard 2,000 square foot house, to run a standard 2,000 square foot house, you need about, to be completely off grid. That, for those of you who don't know what off grid means, it means you're not connected to the power lines outside. Your home is autonomous from that. To run a home like that, you're going to probably need about 10K worth of solar panels. So an average solar panel is about 300-400 watts, something like that. So you can do the math. It would be a perfect place because of the sunshine that they have. And of course, battery technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But someone has to go there and introduce them. Someone has to introduce it. These are the business opportunities that are in Africa. What we call problems are actually business opportunities. And someone has to go and introduce them, because if you don't know something, no matter how simple it is, you just don't know, right? And Africa has more sunshine. It has more arable land than in fact, Africa has around 60% of the world's arable land, but only around 25% to 30% utilization. And of that 30% utilization, only about 2 to 3% of it is mechanized. So all of these are opportunities where we in the diaspora can go back and help and make a lot of money in the process. In other words, you go back to any one of these countries and you provide your expertise, right? Because you can invest in either expertise, you can invest in money. I mean, there are many ways to invest, but you can invest in many ways, and help the local economy start to grow, because manufacturing in Africa is very, how should I call it? It's anemic, right? It's anemic. With all the resources it has, manufacturing is anemic. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to allow people in the West to partner up with people in Africa. And by people in the West, we know who we're talking about. And take the knowledge you have and bring it there and help them to expand their business. So a simple example of how that would work: let's say you're making windshield and you make 3 windshields a day. That's your car windshield, and that you make 3 windshields a day. Someone who has worked with GM or Ford for 40 years, who's worked in the windshield section, could come to Africa and look at your process and say, dude, what you're doing there, just switch this and this and that, and you can produce 15 windshields a day instead of the 3.
After all, I was going to say, we got another caller on real quick.
I'll
pass it to. Go ahead, Brandon.
Let him go ahead. Let him go ahead.
What's up, guys? I just want to say that I think that Bitcoin. This is not bullshit. Hey man, listen, as black men, dude, look, on Juneteenth, bro, we gotta stop being mad and being like, oh, this is BS because
I'm
we
not
can't
mad.
win.
I'm
We
not
can't win
mad.
no debates. White people are gonna argue with y'all one day about Bitcoin, and y'all gonna lose terribly with crypto black and the rest of them.
No,
I'll be watching TV cry.
white people already adopted Bitcoin and mass. So
Man,
we behind.
white
We
people
behind. We
adopted
behind.
Bitcoin. No, listen, white people adopted Bitcoin because they knew that black people follow
Oh.
anything that's trendy, bro. Hey,
Oh
Dave,
my God, bro.
Dave.
Oh
Wait,
my God,
Dave. Have
man.
I ever met you, Dave? Have I ever met you before? Have we ever talked, Dave? Never, right? Never. Right. We've never talked. Dave, when white folks start talking about, ooh, we flipping houses, what black folks start doing?
They want to flip houses.
When white folks start talking about the New England Patriots, a good football team, what black folks start talking about?
Black folks still Cowboy fans.
No. You never met. Hey, you never met.
They start looking over there and see what's popping.
See, Dave gonna be honest. Dinah's gonna be here making it
Black
live.
folks still Cowboy fans. Black folks
We
still
love a
Cowboy
trend.
and Raider fans. I don't know about one black New England Patriots fan.
Hey, I know a bunch of bro.
Hey, I was once a Patriot fan.
Hey, it's black folks when they thought that the Boston Celtics was about to beat Golden State, they ran out here in LA. They ran out and said, I got my Marcus Smart jersey on pre-order. Listen, I'm not lying. You know, I'm telling you.
Hey, Brandon, hear me out. You made a reference about Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Yes.
So we all millennials. Now, we all know that you can't interact with nothing in Chuck E. Cheese without a Chuck E. Cheese coin.
Exactly.
They have it set up that you can't even put a corner in that mug. You got to use the Chuck E. Cheese coin.
Yes.
So if your kids want to go to Chuck E. Cheese and have fun, you need to go to the register and say, excuse me, ma'am, am I allowed to get some Chuck E. Cheese coin? 9 out of 10, they're going to give it to you. But if they decide not to, your kid's going to be looking at you saying, Daddy, why you pissed the lady off? Part of my French.
Yeah.
So when you make a Chuck E. Cheese reference about Bitcoin, you're actually proving a point saying that Bitcoin is only as important as the people who want to use it.
Perceived value.
But whether it's perceived value or not, Chuck E. Cheese still got the little bopper thing and the little skee ball things. That's a real thing you can go to and send your kids to when you want to get a break with yourself and get you a nice tall glass of beer and a cheese pepperoni cheese pizza.
Nah, you can't buy no pizza with no tickets at Chuck E. Cheese. See,
I'm just saying.
That's where I'm gonna stop.
You
infringing on my point I'm gonna make, because see how your kids, they pulled in because they kids. They're mesmerized by the theatrics and the display of the whole thing. So they think, shit, it's totally worth it to spend $150 to get this little ass Chinese finger trap that you could probably order off Alibaba for 10 cents a whop, right?
Right.
They get your kids enamored by the display. Ooh, look at this fake rat running around on stage. But we're adults. The adults do it. We submit to the oppression of Chuck E. Cheese because we know that makes our children happy. What Bitcoin is a bunch of grown-ass men reducing their mind down to the level of a baby so they can believe. Wait, so why you gotta interrupt me? Why you gotta interrupt me?
You lying, Brandon. This is Cash App. Billionaires. You could buy it on Cash App. So everything you say, Brandon, is null and void.
Yes, no, because wait, Dynast, let me make my point. Dynast, Cash App is like the parent. And we like the kids. If y'all want to believe this shit real, we will make a way for you to get Bitcoin, just like with your kid. Dynast, you ever been to Chuck E. Cheese, Dynast?
I've been to Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, and Lil Manta, bless his little heart, he sees something and you like, I could just go buy that for like $5. But he wants to play the games and earn the 20 million tickets to buy it. So what you do is you submit, you basically operate against
Apples
your
and
own.
oranges, Brandon. Apples and oranges.
No, it's the same. It's same. Look, the people.
Brandon, hold on, Brandon. Hold on, Brandon. Okay. Chuck E. Cheese coins is not considered an
We
asset.
talk about the tickets.
Bitcoin is. Okay,
We
tickets,
talk about the
whatever.
tickets.
Well, no,
Bitcoin
Brad,
is.
no. Now you're taking me out of context. I'm not talking about
What?
the tickets. I'm talking about the ecosystem of Chuck E. Cheese alone. And to prove the point is, so right now, money rules. What? I don't know. I can't do. Money rules all things, right? So he just showed you Cash App and Bitcoin, right? So if this ecosystem is so what you call it, a scam, and there's no legitimacy to it, if I Cash App him $50 and he converts it to Bitcoin, what does that prove?
This is the thing. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is not like it. I agree with you in the sense that if you choose to operate in this false economy, yes, then it has value to the people who perceive it as something of value. And the way corporations operate is they're gonna, if they see something, they see there's a group of people who are like, I'm willing to like do things for this type of currency. They will play along with you and be like, yo, yeah, here goes some Bitcoin. But what I'm telling people is you got to understand that. You got to know you just walked into Chuck E. Cheese. You feel me? You got to know that you can't walk outside of Chuck E. Cheese and get any real value for the tickets unless the person is like, yo, they even got Disney bucks. They got the little money you can spend at Disneyland. Or I don't know if they still got that, but they used to have it. But if the person's like, yo, we go to Disneyland every weekend, now to them, the Disney bucks actually have some value. But in Chuck E. Cheese, when you start to get to the real stuff, like they'll trade you a bunch of tickets for a stuffed animal. Why? Because they know that by the time you get the amount of tickets to actually be able to purchase that stuffed animal, you've spent 10 times what that thing is worth in cash money. And so they say, okay, this is an exchange of money, which you guys saying that's what it is. And I agree with you. But the exchange on the money, it's not really practical, because if you really want to break it down to apples and oranges, Black people got totally priced out of the Bitcoin game a long time ago. Soon as Bitcoin hit 40, okay.
You can buy fractions. You can buy fractions
of
it.
I know. But what I'm saying is you can buy fractions of it. What happens when they do what they did a couple years back when they raided all the Bitcoin online little banks? Do you remember that? And what happened?
Raided. Yeah, it's called, Brandon, it's called not your keys, not your crypto. You remove the crypto from the exchanges and put it on your code or hot wallet.
Listen, listen, what I'm telling you is the Bitcoin banks online got raided. They stole millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
But that's not my problem.
I understand, but oh my God, what I'm telling you is, yes, it is, because when they do that, that makes the value of the coin drop, and that's what happened. It crashed. So
it went back up.
I know that, but when it went back up, everybody's confidence in it was kind of sketch. It went back up. And now it's like, oh, you went from being able to have 4,000 Bitcoins, 3,000. Some dude paid 4,000 Bitcoins for a slice of pizza. No, I'm not kidding you. Okay. Come on, man. Don't listen. I ain't never going to say nothing that ain't true on this thing right now. So now Bitcoin, the value of it, it's basically hyperinflated currency. Now you buying pieces of a currency. Why would you want to interact with a hyperinflated currency when you could just use your regular old currency in your pocket that, due to certain conditions now, is becoming more inflated, but still the exchange rate is way more better.
Okay, here's the thing. Okay. So Montego Bay is Chuck E. Cheese for adults, right?
Yeah, I never been to Montego for rich adults, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, Montego Bay is considered a tourist destination.
Dave and Buster's is Chuck E. Cheese.
So when you go to Jamaica and you want to interact with the locals,
yes,
they use the Jamaican dollar,
right,
which is entirely different. Now, if you hand them $1, you're not going to get the exchange of the equivalency back or anything at all. So it's best to have the Jamaican dollar and go to a currency exchange place and convert your dollar to whatever it is, right?
It's a bad analogy, but yeah, go ahead.
No, it's a wonderful analogy because
Jamaican dollar is backed by the U.S. dollar. All their money in their government is U.S. dollars.
Backed by the Queen. It's backed by the Queen, my friend.
Man, even the pound is backed by the U.S. dollar.
Guys,
in their
don't,
vaults,
let's
they
not
have
deviate.
US
Let's not
dollars.
deviate. Finish the
We're
point.
not sorry.
Let him finish the point.
But you know I'm being a stickler. But come
I
on.
know. But
Come
let him
on.
finish the point.
Stickler or not, it's backed by something, right?
US dollars. Well,
Okay.
yes, okay.
Okay.
Just
So
like Bitcoin.
So Jamaica is backed by the US dollar. And Chuck E. Cheese is backed by fun. And backed by the fact that parents can drop their kids off and get some free time. And Chuck E. Cheese is nationwide. So it does have some sense of worth based off of the people that want to participate in it. So at this point, even if you don't see the value in it, as society grows more towards convenience and technology, as opposed to you seem like a guy that likes to dig in dirt and shit. And so you like to get it from the mud, right?
You do, Brandon. You do.
You like to get it from the mud? You got a whole orange empire in Kenya, right? You know, I'll be looking at your videos. You be talking.
We gonna start an orange. Hey, if you really look at it, Chuck E. Cheese is also backed by the US dollar because Chuck E. Cheese can't operate nothing based on their currency, and they understand that they're playing make-believe. The difference between Chuck E. Cheese and these black folks is we don't understand that we playing make-believe.
If that's the
we
case,
really think this shit is
the
real.
Welfare system, sir? What is the welfare system? What is
It's backed by money. It's backed by dollars, bro.
That's monopoly money.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. When I was young, I was 18. I was just got married, and I was broke as hell. And my grandma was like, "You need to go down to the county building and get some food stamps." So I went down there, and they gave me $100 in food stamps. I told them about my job and everything. They sent me a letter and said, "You owe us $100 in $100." They said, "You owe us $100." I said, "Wait a minute,
Brandon, you're supposed to tell them you don't work and you're homeless."
Yeah.
That's what listen. When I was in LA, you know, I did that for like a month, but then I stopped it because they said I had to show up to like work at MacArthur Park at like 6:30 in the morning. I said, "Nah."
Work requirement, my friend.
Is it true that you can buy fast food with an EBT card in some areas in LA? Right?
Yeah, in Atlanta too. Yeah.
You can buy what? Fast food?
Fast food with EBT card.
Yes, that's part of a special program, but the government then reimburses those businesses with dollars.
But here's the thing. So what we're trying to explain to you, Brandon, is that at this particular conjunction in society, as we're moving into the fourth industrial revolution, what you're saying may not be valid. But the point is, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, especially sometime of November this year, serial numbers, when you transfer money, is going to change. It looks very similar to crypto. And you just got no choice but to play along in the world of Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. And if they do that, that's totally fine. But what I'm telling people right now is we have to acknowledge that this is just an insulated little economy like Chuck E. Cheese. And if you want to get in on it,
it's $1 trillion economy.
That's fine. But did you hear what you just said? Trillion what? Dollars.
Yeah, well, when you
you're not gonna win, guys. You're not gonna win.
It's not real. Listen, guys. All it is making this situation less efficient. That's the reality. Because you wanna. It's like saying, Brandon, you could go dunk the basketball, or you could go jump over 3 hurdles, then dunk the basketball. Why wouldn't I just go dunk the basketball? It's direct. No, jump the because it makes
Brad, you babble it out. You babble it out. You babble it out. You babble it out, Brad.
They thought Jesus was babbling too. They thought Jesus was babbling too.
You babble it, Brad. Three hurdles.
Listen, they told Noah he was babbling until it started.
Brandon, you lost this one, man. You lost.
No, how did I lose? The audience is with
me. A basketball, duck over 3 hurdles.
The people are on my side. If you look, Dinah, you could say, I don't accept no crypto. You still gonna get that money on Donfo. They're gonna just come with their cash. Then you don't gotta worry about exchanging the crypto to cash, bro.
No, okay. Stop pushing the goalposts because
I'm not. See how y'all do? See how y'all do? No, I'm making it plain.
Exchange. I don't have to exchange.
Dinus, once you get
Bitcoin if I want to.
Let me say that. Dinus, once you get the Bitcoin through the app, and Dinus smiling because he know the point I'm about to make. Once you get the Bitcoin through the app, what do you then do with the Bitcoin to get
I
your
got
bread?
no. Listen. I either exchange it to other currencies, I hold it, or I. Oh no. Or hold on.
Or you don't use this as a shameless
hold
plug.
that. No. I'm about to show you something. Hold on. I'm about
You
to show
don't
you something.
transfer
Hold
none
that
of the
thought.
Bitcoin to cash money.
Hold on. Hold that. I do some, but hold that thought, Brandon. Hold on. Or I do this. Hold on. Let me show you something. Hold on.
I do
Hold on.
some. Dave,
Brandon's
want you
about to
say
be
that?
educated, man.
All right, I'm
But
about.
Brandon, by the way, I agree with Brandon. I agree with some of what you're saying. But the way you're
you
saying
have
it.
to, because what I'm
No.
saying is
Hold on. The way you're saying it, because you're conflating two things. But some of what you're saying.
People don't think I understand
Hold on.
blockchain and crypto.
Or-
Bro, I've done extensive
Hold on.
research on blockchain.
Or I transfer the crypto to my debit card and spend it that way.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, you told us about
I
it
transfer
yesterday.
directly to. I love
You
direct,
shameless
directly
plug.
to my card.
He was like, let me use this.
No,
I know what he was
gotta
doing.
shameless plug.
He did
It's
it
not a shameless
yesterday.
plug.
He just had the car. But the point I'm making is ultimately people revert the Bitcoin, they transfer into US currency or US dollars. And
By choice. By choice.
But that's what it's backed by. If you said right now you cannot transfer a lick of the crypto you got into USD, crypto would die overnight. Just
Let me
like
tell you,
Nigeria did. Nigeria was like, we're not accepting crypto.
No.
No, it got strong. No,
In
it didn't. It got stronger in
Crypto.com,
Nigeria.
you have choices.
But remember, you told us Nigeria banned crypto.
No,
The
Brandon.
government banned. No, hold on 1 second. The government banned it because people are using crypto more than the naira because the Bitcoin is stronger than the naira.
Because
so the government
why?
was like, this
Why?
is competing with
Because
the
it's
naira.
backed by the dollar.
It's not backed by the dollar.
Oh, yes, it is.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be backed by the dollar for it. Any currency, right now, the naira is literally falling apart because so it doesn't take much. So it would be stronger than the naira without much effort.
But what I'm saying, I'm not saying it has to be backed by a dollar. But what I'm saying is it is backed by the dollar. It's backed by the fact that you could.
It's not. I only let you go along with it.
We did this yesterday.
Here it is. Here, no. That
You
card
got to explain to me what backs it.
Is that a Crypto.com card?
Diners?
No, I don't have. Not anymore. I used to. I don't like Crypto.com.
Okay, but
anymore.
you know in Crypto.com.
But I had one.
But you know that you got to pick what currency you're going to convert it to. You can't convert everything to dollar. You can use euro, you can use yen, you can use whatever currency in the country you're in. So it's not backed by the dollar.
It's not backed by anything. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm telling you is people's confidence in the dollar is what bolsters their confidence in crypto. If they couldn't take it and change it,
they do not back themselves by no dollar in China.
They're currency manipulators. We're not going to even start on China. But what I'm going to tell you is the fact that people know that at any moment I could take this and change it out for real money, that bolsters people's confidence. If the United States said, look, you can't exchange crypto for dollars no more, you would see an immediate decline in the usage of cryptocurrency. Crypto is actually backed by nothing at all, and not one person, even the expert. Listen, wait. Not even one of these experts yesterday could explain to us. I'm gonna start talking about us because I'm gonna say us because we all was in the audience when y'all couldn't explain to us what crypto is actually backed by. Said technology, you might as well say.
You don't want to listen to it.
I was listening.
Guys, it's the technology. It's the blockchain.
Guys, put a one if you agree with me. Put a one if you agree with me because look, we always listening.
Here we go. It's the network. It's the tech. There we go. We keep telling you.
It's the tech.
You don't want to listen, Brandon.
It's the tech.
It's called selective.
Do you know how? No, it's not. Do you know how broad the term? Diners. You know.
Blockchain. Block is the blockchain. Brandon.
Yes. So it's backed by that. So what is blockchain? Algorithms, right?
So okay. I'm giving a definition.
See a lot of ones.
We need to do some research, so we're doing a Google quick. Stable coin.
No, don't use Google.
No. Hold on.
Stable coins is essentially backed by the dollar, right?
Dave Brooks family.
Yes.
Listen, what you got to
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
This
Answer
is
is yes.
this is what African always and Dynast Amir, the Prince himself, is not telling y'all. They were
What we not
saying
telling?
99 yesterday. They were saying 99.9% of all the coins are shit coins. They're no
A bunch
good.
of them are shit coins. A bunch of them are shit coins.
Somebody
I
said
wouldn't say 99.
somebody
but
used the figure 99.9%.
I would say
90
probably 90. I would say about 90% are shit coins.
not
so
90.
coins.
Dynast, come on, Dynast. I'm begging you. Not 90. Not 90. Come
Nah,
on,
there's some shit coins out there.
Dynast.
But don't invest in those. Brandon, it's like investing in a penny stock. It's like investing in a penny stock. There's some shit.
Dynast, stop comparing to penny stocks. It's not penny stocks. You guys love bringing up penny stock. It's like when black people say, well, white people kill each other too. That's the same type of argument.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is. Penny stocks are crap. Nobody, that's even a scam. Penny stocks are a scam. There were some people who made money off
penny stock is a scam. How's a penny stock a scam?
I'm not saying it's a scam, but the chances of you becoming it's a gamble. Penny stock is a gamble.
But how is it a gamble?
Well, stock market is a gamble to begin with.
And Bitcoin is a less promising
I'm gonna pass the African always. And Brandon, these shit coins are a gamble, but you got a shit coin called Shiba Inu that made a lot of
Don't talk
millionaires.
about the
You got a
coins.
shit
Why
coin
the
called
coins gotta be
Dogecoin.
shit?
Made a lot of millionaires. You got a shit coin called so like the penny stocks, you got shit coins, even though they're shit coins that made a lot of people some money, even though they're shit coins. So that's my point.
Here's the thing. There's this saying I like to use from I forgot who said it. It says some people would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. Don't crap on the other coins just because they make the crypto market look bad. They're not shit coins because a couple of years back, y'all was bragging about these coins. It's like a girl who you used to date, but she kind of ugly. Wait, it's like when you date a girl and she kind of ugly. She buy you a lot of stuff, and you love her when y'all at the mall shopping. But as soon as people start making fun of you, you disown her. I don't date her. I ain't with her. That's how y'all do with the crypto. Soon as that crypto fall through or collapse or whatever, oh, it's just a shit coin. But a couple of months before, ooh, Dogecoin to the moon. Shiba Inu, y'all was hollering.
Yeah, Dogecoin to the moon. It's a shit coin, but it's going to the moon.
No,
it's
okay.
a shit coin, but it's going to the moon.
I'm not part of that bandwagon. Yeah. I'm not part of that bandwagon. I'm not part of that. I don't know. Look, first and foremost, I've been looking at Dynast's videos about crypto, and I respect him trying to bring it into the forethought. I think a lot of people he brought in probably worked for some like investment companies because they sounded more technical analysis than developer perspective. So I was like, But every coin created, whether it's a scam or not, is based off of the people who created and the use that they're going to perpetuate in creation. So there's no shit coins are just a derogatory term we use for people who develop that feel like, man, I don't want to use it. So we make jokes about it. You know, when you just make fun of people for no reason, when you know they can play basketball, but because they missed the shot, now they suck for the rest of the week. So Dogecoin has always been a use coin. The person created it had no intentions really to take it serious, but he did create something that had a use. That is the only reason why
they created a pump and dump. They created a pump and dump. They got a bunch of celebrities who start promoting.
No.
Yeah. They got a pump and dump it.
Can I add to some? I want to say something real quick, and I'll hop off because it's been a very interesting conversation about crypto to the moon. That was hilarious. But anyway, my thing is I'm not super knowledgeable in crypto. I've learned enough to where I don't trust it at all. But go ahead, make some millions, get some stuff. I might get into crypto that's backed by silver and gold or just physical assets. I'm more comfortable in that because I collect physical gold and silver. But and I like that as
Care bars.
But
I love Care bars.
Well, I got gold grams, so you know, whatever. But anyway, my main thing is a lot of these digital assets and coins and going toward, and to me, it's just going the trend towards a cashless society, and it's more than just convenience. Obviously, the main excuse is because we're lazy, we want to be convenient, but the main thing is the governments and corporations want to. It's just the surveillance economy. That's all it is. So in a couple of years, if you're selling something or engaging in an industry that they don't like, they'll just shut off your access to banks. They'll do all that stuff. So to me, it all goes together, and people are just falling for this stuff 100%. So
Rifleman,
I'm
Rifleman.
skeptical.
Right,
Don't leave.
but
Dynasty.
but hold on. But hold on. But that's the thing about Bitcoin is decentralized. They can't shut it off.
Listen, wait. Okay, let me say this. I want to give you guys a story. I was gonna do this on my channel, but I'll do it. I'll just tell you this right now. Okay, so in China right now, due to the stuff, I'm just gonna call it the stuff. I don't want anybody's channel messed up. They have been freezing people's accounts. So like there's employers who can't pay their workers, and there's workers who can't access their savings so they could buy food and essentials, right? So all these workers and stuff, and some of you brothers might know about this, they plan to do a 200,000 person protest. They were going to meet at a certain location, and they were going to march and protest and act a big old fool out there in China. Do you know that they tied these people's bank accounts to this app that basically tells you if the person has the stuff or not, right? And so if they put it in an app, and you just like when you go through checkpoints, you pull up the app and your thing shows green and they scan you and you keep it moving. The day these people were gonna go to do the protest, right, about their frozen money, their frozen accounts, they pressed a button and they shifted everybody's status with concerning the stuff from green to red, so that they could not leave their immediate little province. Rifleman is totally right. The more you play around on the internet,
but again, Bitcoin is decentralized. You can't turn it off. So this is null and void.
It's connected to the it's connected to the internet. It's connected to banks. All these crypto wallets, y'all. These are banks. These are just banks for crypto.
These aren't banks, brother.
All right, man. All right. So y'all talking about I don't understand. I see what it is. I see what it is.
Can I just say one quick thing? A big thing about when crypto first started, because I remember when it first started, I used to watch Russia Today in like 2010 and Max Kaiser and all. So I used to mine Bitcoin about 12 years ago, whatever, in its infancy. And what I'm saying is, from that time till now, banks have invested so much to get their hooks into these crypto wallets and the crypto infrastructure, to where now they have outsized influence on the crypto market and the infrastructure. So there's, even though yes, blockchain and all that stuff, I think there is a lot of good stuff with it. But as far as banks, you can't trust them. They have probably secret backdoors and all that, to where they can either track something or shut it off. And I just believe that. I know it's a conspiracy, but you just can't tell me these bankers are just gonna let their power go to the people.
But it's not a conspiracy. Like, what you're talking about is valid, but those are for the people who refuse to take responsibility of their own destiny. What you're talking about is the welfare system. So the financial institutions that are creating this shadow net that's supposed to be monitoring transactions, which they do in like Cash App and whatever the case is. Yeah, for the people who don't want to learn what fintech is, then sure, they're going to be monitored and taxed and whatever the situation you're referring to. But the fourth industrial revolution, where is the next opportunity for individuals to take control of their destiny. If you decide to want to get what they call a toolkit, so you look at a coin, and then it has a toolkit. And the toolkit gives you access to the syntax that allows you to move and interchain and interact with whatever the blockchain is doing for your own derivative needs. Then you don't have to worry about, Big Brother monitoring you or taking your stuff, because you can create your own infrastructure within the blockchain. But if you want to sit there and use platforms that are already created for your convenience, then yeah, you're leaving your your well-being to the trust of people you don't know. So that's not a conspiracy.
No.
That's just a lack of responsibility.
See, no, wait. Let me say this real quick. See, and this is the devil of the whole thing right here. What you just said. You guys get up here and start telling people this is the best thing since sliced bread, but you guys fail to really talk about the details and the risk of it as much as you should talk about it. And I don't care what you guys say. When we go into something, we really value people who not only explain the benefits and the risk to something. Say you buying a car. Listen, I understand what you're doing, but what I'm trying to tell you is you did that after you guys, no, you guys don't understand. Then you said, well, there is this risk.
Can I throw something?
Dave, I'm not including you on this, Dave, because you just came today. So I'm not including you. But you explained the risk. Yesterday, when it was 10 experts on here,
they did not explain the risk.
Never explain it.
They never explained the risk.
I know. I'm about to say that, African always. They never explained the risk.
It's volatile. The risk is volatile.
Stop. You guys, Dinus.
Not
the volatility. Not the volatility. Not the volatility. We know that. It's a gamble. But what we're talking about is, you got to do all this, and this to make sure that the government is not able to get your Bitcoin and lock it up or do anything like that. See, people are just going to buy it. They're not going to be like, I got to go in.
You just ship it to a cold. You just ship it to a cold wallet. You just send it.
Dennis,
they're going to buy up all the Bitcoin, and then you're not going to be able to have it.
Part of the big challenge with anything is the full understanding of it. This is why I said yesterday that investments. I want to touch on a few things because you guys touch on so many things. So I want to go back to something. Why is cryptocurrency so attractive in countries like Nigeria, El Salvador, and so forth? Any country with a unstable currency would be attracted to it. If you're in Switzerland, not so much because your currency is pretty solid. If you're in America, your currency is reasonably solid. But the point is, since it's the world's currency, it's solid. It's attractive because when you're in a country and the dollar and your currency is depreciating on a rapid basis, which the naira is, and many current currencies, you need to either do one of two things. You need to stem the value loss, and you could either purchase something. Let's say, for example, you buy a piece of land, and the land, even though the currency depreciates, the value of the land increases. So it's a stable way of keeping your money or keeping your value. The other way you do it is to buy foreign currency with your money as quick as you can, a stable foreign currency like the United States dollar. The other way you can, which is much more convenient, is something like Bitcoin. And the reason it's stronger than the Nigerian currency is because the perceived value or the agreement up to this point by the world community, and this is the world community now that is dealing with Bitcoin, says it's worth a certain amount. And for it to go down, there has to be a consensus across the globe where people short it or whatever the case may be, or they discover something about it that is causing it to go down, or you have something like where the government is tightening money supply. The bottom line is, though, it's more attractive to these countries or to people in those countries because it's more stable. It's more stable than the local currency. So that is the reason why it's not necessarily because, I mean, at the end of the day, it has a perceived value in different currencies. In America, it might be worth X. In Canada, it might be worth Y. But across the globe, there is what we call a synchronized value. So because Bitcoin is not an American Bitcoin or not a Canadian Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin. So the same way the United States dollar is the currency of trade in most cases, right? Because if I tell somebody in Zambia that I'm going to give you $100 US, and I tell somebody in Soweto, and I tell somebody in Cairo, everybody roughly will have an idea of what $100 is. So because it's a standard currency that everybody understands what the thing is. Bitcoin plays a similar role. The other part of what I think Brandon was also talking about, which is how does what is the exact value of Bitcoin? Part of Bitcoin's value is its utility, the role it plays. But the other part of it is also speculation. So the question is, how much of it is speculation and how much of it is the actual intrinsic value? In other words, the utility of the value. Because if you're in Nigeria and you bought Bitcoin, even though it went down, say 20%, you're still ahead of the game than if you had your local currency, right? So you'd still be ahead of the game. The question is, how much of it is speculation? That is to say, just people bidding it up, right? Because a certain portion of cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin in particular, is speculative, right? And a certain portion of it is intrinsic utility value. People are going to disagree. I don't know the exact value of what it is. I can hazard a guess. I don't know the exact value though. But the bottom line is, this is why I said yesterday that these kinds of currencies, the people who thrive best in it are the ones who understand the utility of it and can deploy it specifically to help them, as opposed to mom and pop. Mom and pop are not going to invest in any of these currencies. Frankly, mom and pop are scared to invest anything other than government bonds. There are people who won't even buy stocks by themselves because they think it's so bloody scary, right? So you have to, when you talk about the Black community, specifically our community, we're talking about a community that is at a disadvantage to begin with. That is to say, the knowledge or the literacy rate, financial literacy rate, isn't the highest. And I'm being charitable. And what I'm saying here is, because it's like that, when we talk about these currencies, we should certainly talk about it, because obviously it has utility, as I said. And but we have to talk about it in a responsible way, such that if somebody's going to take the risk, they know what level of risk they're going to entail. And for American Rifleman, if you think that you can use cryptocurrency and evade Uncle Sam, you have no idea. You have no idea how much data they have on you. You'd be shocked. You'd be blown away, shocked.
Exactly.
The amount of information they have and the ways they can shut you down.
They have like task forces. They have all these government entities like intelligence agencies that are going after like crypto pirates and all these other people globally, not just in America. So yeah, that's what I was saying.
They already control it. They already control it. And let me tell you, when you got one Bitcoin that's worth $47,000, I call that inflation. If you talking to me. Period. But y'all like it's not inflation. That's inflation. You can't even have one, really, unless you spend a bunch of money. And when you talk about this stuff is on the internet, man. These people, Black folks, ain't you learned nothing? They took Donald Trump, Farrakhan. They just totally deplatformed them. They can cut you off of the internet. And if they cut you off the internet, unless you got your Bitcoin on paper, which you can print it out on paper, you're not gonna have access to it. So when people are like, it's safe, you mute
Brandon,
it.
Brandon, how do they cut you off the internet where you cannot access Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask.
No, they're doing it in China all the time. They're doing it in China all the time.
Brandon, explain how they can cut you off the internet anywhere on the planet.
Bro, they can just cut you off the internet, man. They can just
shut
down
all your... So you're saying right now Donald Trump doesn't have access to Bitcoin.
So African always.
Or the internet. Hold on, stop the show. No. So you're saying Donald Trump does not have access to the internet right now.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, Donnie. What African always, you're more of an expert, more of a knowledgeable on this than me. Can a government cut off a group of people's access to the internet?
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes,
nope.
they can.
Easily.
Okay, hold on.
Bro, they just did it in Ukraine.
No. African always. So you're telling me, from a creator, developer perspective, that because if I have my own servers and my own internal network, they're able to cut me off. Not with no EMP strike, just regular cut off.
But most people don't have that, David.
Network system.
No. Let him ask a question. Go ahead. Finish, David. Finish.
So if I create my own internet infrastructure, they can shut down my own internet infrastructure.
When you say internet infrastructure, how do you understand the internet?
Okay,
Because
so I understand that the internet is based off of levels of communication of radio waves. So either you have it Bluetooth or wireless, or you have it wired.
Okay.
So you have
I see where you're coming from.
You have a central network system, like in my community here, right? And it's like a server house. I take one of the basements, turn it into a server house, and I can either send it out wirelessly, or I can have everybody,
Okay, I see. Okay, let me answer your question then. I just wanted to understand, make sure, because I want to make sure I give you a specific answer, because so basically the two-sentence version of the internet is, it is a bunch of connections owned by utilities backed by governments. So at the end of the day, think of it as a pipe network where you have trunk lines, and AT&T is one of the what they call them, the backbone providers of those. From there, it goes to AT&T and so forth. But beyond AT&T, there are some other entities that are in between AT&T and the government. But the bottom line, though, which is why China is able to shut off their whole internet from the world outside. The issue is not going to be if you have let's say you have 10 coins, and that's roughly about $80,000 Bitcoin, right? $80,000 today, and the government says, I'm going to take your money, I'm going to take your Bitcoin. What's the first thing the government would do? Obviously, the government would have to know that you have Bitcoin. And they would have known that because they could look at your activity on the internet and see what you're doing. Not only would they know what you're doing, because they're not just going to come at you just like that. I'm assuming that you've attracted their interest. And so they have time to monitor you before you realize what's happening. So by the time they come to hit you up, they might even have your Bitcoin key. So that you, in other words, for your wallet, this is what they did when they held that pipeline as hostage. They got paid in Bitcoin, and Uncle Sam just went and took their money back. Give me my money. And they were like shocked, like, whoa, how could they do that? They did that because before I did what I'm doing now, I used to be in encryption way back in the day. That's why I said to you, I did this a long time back. If you guys have a clue as to how much and information they have and the kind of access they have, man, you just scratch your head. You remember WikiLeaks when they had this thing where they said they were swooping up information? Yesterday, I dropped a little hint. I said there were football fields of servers, supercomputers. The sheer computing power they have, they could break Bitcoin. And once you break an algorithm, it has no value. It's just like HTTPS, right? The algorithm is 128-bit, but the government can break 128-bit easily. 256-bit they can break easily. Maybe not 512. But the point is, the government can get access to you. This is why I said, if America Rifleman understands how much power the government has and how much access it has. So how could they damage your currency? It's true. And what that simply means is that the nodes that hold, the simplest way to explain it is this. So let's say all of us here agree that we have Bitcoin. And Dynast is I'm gonna give Dynast, let's say, 1 Bitcoin. So that is going to come out of my ledger and go into Dynast's ledger. So what that means is that Dynast is going to have a recording of it in his ledger, but so is David, and so is African Rifleman, and so is Brandon. All of us are going to have a copy of that ledger agreement. That's why they call it distributed. So now I don't have to go to Dynast to determine that Dynast I've given him 1. I can go to David's, and if I have access to David's, I can look and see that there is a transaction in there where it was transferred to Dynast. I could go to any one of these people. Now, how did China? Because China, the problem for China is what you guys talk about, which is the autonomous nature of it. China hates that because obviously they're a control freak country, or they like to control things. So what they did was they said, look, the whole they start off piecemeal by saying the mining process is illegal. That's their version of it. They're not going to be able to stop. If you have $100 in Bitcoin, and you were Chinese and you decided, you know what, I need to get out of China. I am going to Africa, or I'm going to someplace else, America. The leisure in Africa would still have your entry there. But at some point, the cryptocurrency meets what we call fiat currency. There is an intersection where it meets it. And that is where they'll be sitting down there waiting for you, because they know it's like a guy who's speeding on the highway trying to run away. They know at some point he's going to have to get off at an exit. So they're sitting at the exit waiting for him. So this is how they go after you, and this is how they get you. So that is why even if you're a crook and you think you can use the currency, yeah, you can get away for a while, but eventually they'll nail you down. So that is how they get it. But the two currencies, fiat and cryptocurrency, have an intersection. It's that intersection. It's the Montego Bay experience you talk about, David, when you said you go there and you exchange your currency, your American dollars, for the Jamaican dollar, right? That you're going to use the Jamaican dollar locally because that's what the people understand. But at some point, you had to go to an exchange agency to. In other words, all the cash in your pocket meant nothing until you can convert it to local currency, and somebody can say, "Okay, I recognize this. I will give you food for some of it. I'll give you a rental car for some of it, and so on and so forth." That is where all currencies end up coming back to the real world. Now, in between that, if I pay Dynast in Bitcoin, as long as he doesn't need the exchange, in other words, he doesn't need to exchange it for anything local, then he can keep the Bitcoin, and he can keep it for 5 years, 10 years. And if the value of Bitcoin goes to 2 million, then he's even richer, right? But in the real world where most people live, you have to, if you're a business person, you have to put inventory back. So if you sell somebody something and you take payment in Bitcoin, you have to go replenish the thing you just sold. So you have to convert Bitcoin back to fiat currency, because all the people you're dealing with are not dealing with Bitcoin. If the whole world was dealing with Bitcoin, then you'd be fine. But we're not at that stage. Bitcoin is tiny in terms of fraction of the world's economy.
As the world,
tiny, it's like a drop of water in the ocean.
As the world starts to deal with it more, they're going to start making things to be able to control it. That's the nature of human beings. They don't want anything to be
that's the nature of government,
right? Of government, as you develop new things. My whole thing is, people think I'm an anti-Bitcoin and crypto. I'm not anti-Bitcoin or crypto. What I'm telling people is, before you start trying to sell this shit to everybody, your own people, oh, do this. We love doing that. And Dave and everybody on here who's black, y'all know we love doing that. Do this. We love getting hyped up about something new. And 90% of the time, David, you know it, we don't really know the full scope of what we're talking about. We're just excited about it.
That's why I'm here.
That's why I didn't include you. But it's just like a conspiracy theorist, right? If you go into a conspiracy theorist past, you will be able to identify several other times in their past where they expressed a unrealistic or illogical distrust in something, some other conspiracy that they were trying to push out there, stuff like that. It's like when I talk to somebody who's like, oh, I'm FBA. I know 9 times out of 10 that person believes that they're original Aboriginal Indigenous American, or they're Hebrew Israelite. I just know because, crazy runs in packs. You know what I'm saying? When someone's crazy, it ain't just one. You don't fall into this. You slide into this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's all I'm telling folks. We have to be responsible enough to acknowledge, hey, I'm a person who gets really excited about trendy things. Everybody who was excited about crypto got all excited about NFTs. And NFTs, more so than crypto, are starting to kind of look like a scam, right? But that didn't stop the people from crypto world from there like, NFTs, we need more energy. This is the new technology. That's how it works. So all I'm doing is say, hold your damn horses, understand it fully, and when you and you might have a total grasp of it, but when you explain it fully. Don't just be like, yeah, invest your money. Because I have people talk about, bro, you should take your whole savings account and convert it to Dogecoin right now. There was people saying that.
Those are clowns. Those are clowns. Those are clowns.
Dynast. But do you understand that every clown is validated by someone who actually knows what they're talking about, who says something similar to what they say? A con man only can con you if he uses things said by somebody who's not a con man. And that's what people trust. That's it. So those are clowns, or those are shit coins. The shit coins are validated by the good coin. Why? Because the term coin, crypto, that's what people are getting captured with. So we have to understand. Dynast, your ass was in sales, so you know all this stuff. Just be responsible. That's all I'm saying. Drink responsibly. Keep your hand off the trigger unless you plan on eliminating your target. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Keep your finger off the trigger.
I'll say like two small things and I'll be out. Brandon's right. Like my two main things with crypto, yes, it's a very trendy thing. One thing, I mean, people have scrutinized it, but people have thrown all skepticism out of the window. And that's where I kind of come in. It's like people just like, okay, you know, there's no risk, you know, just hold it for 20, 30 years and you're going to be fine and whatever. And another thing, with all currencies and all rates of exchange, it's about confidence. That's it. From your, you know, reserve currency, the American dollar, to gold, to anything else, we have the confidence we can exchange it for goods and services. That's it. So once people get less confident, so right now we got confidence men running around saying, I've done this. They got girls on the beach and they got, oh man, we're changing and everything's going to change and Web 4.0. And you see the benefits of it with me right here. And people are taking in, and now shit is crashing. So, and people are warning y'all. So that's all I really got to say.
The key is to have balance in everything you do. It's just like a meal. If you just eat just protein or carbohydrates. But I think David had a point.
Let me interject real quick. Because what's interesting about this crashing thing? So when we all shop.
It's not crashing, by the way.
And you know, you either buy something at the designer store and at the outlet or Ross and Burlington, whatever. We're talking about the state stuff. These things are considered to be on sale because they're out of season. Now, when I see anything depreciating, I call that an opportunity. I believe it was you that referenced that back in 2008, it was great for you, and 9 was great for you, but sad for other people because of their position and choice in life. Now, whenever I tell people about cryptocurrency, I always tell them under the use, like, hey, find out what the tech is about and see if it's something you know about. And if it is something you know about, understand that that could be the access point to that technology. So just get enough that if it becomes the point of use to get access to it, you already have it at a cheap price. And if you do decide you want to liquidate it for any fiat throughout the world, you have that option as well. But what's important is you should get access to this key to technology at a cheap price. Ethereum, when you need to move Ethereum, it costs anywhere between $4 to $400. So when I need to move a coin that's on an Ethereum blockchain from one blockchain wallet to the other, I got to spend a little gas to make that happen. Now, people thinking like, oh, well, I don't want to buy Ethereum because it's too much money. I can't get rich off of that. You're going to have to buy Ethereum to move your cheap coin that you expect to get rich from, if it's on the Ethereum blockchain, to another wallet. So I tell people, look, buy a coin that you know, like Binance USA. Buy a coin, or a blockchain to be exact, that you know other companies are going to build their platform within it. That way, you know, as that blockchain gets used, that coin gets some more value. And if you have to use that coin to complete whatever action within that ecosystem, you won't hurt as much as opposed to waiting till the time you have to do it by no means other, and then pay premium for it. And that's all that I advocate for. I'm not even advocating for any level of richness. I'm advocating for this is going to be the standard, and it's not 4.0, it's 3.0. And it's going to be the standard of transactions moving forward as we go to the next industrial revolution. And if you can get an access key on the low, it doesn't matter if you get rich or not. You still need key to open the door to your house, gas to power your combustible engine, electricity to power your Tesla or whatever EV vehicle you have. These things are non-negotiable. And some of these technologies that are waiting for regulatory clarity and continuing to partner up with these institutions privately that no one is knowing unless you're in the know, get in now, because you're going to have to use the access key in these platforms regardless. So that's what I'm really telling people to do.
The when you say get in now, unfortunately, human nature is such that we hear extremes. That's really we are extremists, believe it or not. So if I come to you and I say, hey, you know what, man, I just discovered this thing called cryptocurrency, and I tell 10 people that, and if I come back to each person and say, hey, what did I just say? I'll get answers from, wow, you said you found the best thing since sliced bread. And another guy says, look, you found the most dangerous thing on earth. 10 people with the same, and even if I taped it and played so they hear it, they're going to interpret it based on their experience in many cases. Plus, their personal, some people are more risk averse, some people are more risk tolerant. When it comes to investment, I don't like to give a lot of advice, reasoning, but I will introduce a technology to somebody, because I think that more knowledge is good. The more knowledge you have about a particular thing. Bitcoin is not going to go away. The question is, what will Bitcoin's value be 10 years from now, for example? I don't know the answer to that question, and I suspect most people don't know. But there are a lot of things that go into a currency's value, whether it's American dollar, Canadian dollar, Jamaican dollar, or the naira. A lot of things go into it. What a prudent investor looks for are the conditions that he or she has seen before that they can use to interpret something. So no one has to tell me. I've never been chased by a lion. But I've watched enough movies to know that if I'm chased by a lion, I need to get the hell out of Dodge. Because from experience and from knowledge, I don't have to learn on the job. I just know, get out of Dodge. The same thing is true when it comes to investments. My encouragement to us is that I go back to, because I'm biased in a way, and I'm going to say straight up front, I'm biased. I'm biased because I've seen over the years how simple technologies got converted into businesses in the form of, so for example, who would have known that a serious prime number that we learned in computer class back in the day would become the basis for Bitcoin? Who would have thought that? Couple that with blockchain. We have a lot of people in our community who have a lot of knowledge, but what is missing is, how do we convert that knowledge? Because Bitcoin should have okay, someone in our community could have come up with Bitcoin, and had they come up with Bitcoin, for example, they would have been filthy rich by now, because obviously Bitcoin started from zero value to where it is today, $20,000 per coin. What I want, to me, I think what we should strive for is to come together and create the knowledge base that creates these things, as opposed to, jumping on the bandwagon, right? When a new concept comes in, we need to be there with the new concept, to introduce the new concept, to capitalize on the new concept, to make money off the new concept. We need to do that, because right now, if I couldn't in clear conscience tell somebody to buy Bitcoin. Why? Because it is at what I would consider to be an inflated price. But that's me. That's one individual, and the criteria I'm using are these. One, the value of Bitcoin when it shot past $20,000. I think a significant chunk of that was cheap money, because when you can get money cheap, you take the money and you invest it in some fashion. So you either, and that is why the stock market itself took off like a jet, because cheap, the Uncle Sam has had cheap money for the last, I'm going to say, since 2008, 2009. We've had cheap money, right? Because you want to stimulate the economy, you lower interest rate. So much so that Uncle Sam went into negative. That is to say, once you get zero, Uncle Sam starts paying you to borrow money. Not you and I, but banks. They're actually, the Federal Reserve is paying banks to say, hey, take some money out of me, and get it out there in the economy. So that all that cash circulating all over the place has to find a destination somewhere. And it is my humble opinion that the stock market is going to have a correction, and so is not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrencies are going to have a correction as well. I do not know how big the correction is. If I knew that, I could go play the market and I'd be a rich man today. But it's my humble opinion that all of these are going to be corrected over the next year, because as Uncle Sam tightens finance, and by the way, it's not just Uncle Sam tightening finance. The British government has to tighten because inflation there is running at about 8%, 7 to 8%. The German government, inflation there is running at about 6%. So they're going to have to, anytime you have inflation over 2-3%, you have to tighten it as a government. So, but what I will say about Bitcoin is that it should be a lesson to all of us that Bitcoin came out of nowhere and became $20,000 in value. What is the next thing that we can use blockchain on that will give us the $20,000 value? There are lots of things we can invest in that will put us in a position where we are part of the drivers as opposed to jumping on the bandwagon. So that's why I said to you, that's why I said yesterday that I think personally that a small percentage of your money, if you're going to put it into these coins, you can make sure you are able to lose that money, right? Diana's situation is very different because he's using it not as a speculation, but as a means of doing business. And that's significantly different. So Dinas, that's why you can get away with what you do, because you're not using it the same way most people who are getting into Bitcoin. They're getting it more on the speculative side. That is what they're getting into, right? Unfortunately. And look, I could be dead wrong. And it turns out somebody comes to me and says, that guy, African always don't know what he's talking about. Look at Bitcoin. It's at $50,000. And that'd be fine. I would accept the fact that I was wrong in terms of my interpretation of the thing, right? But I have to make decision for myself personally on the knowledge I have, the things I've seen happen, right? Real estate is going to take a hit as well. So real estate is not a refuge right now, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to take a hit because the 30-year fixed is, I don't know what it is now, but it's probably 4%, 3.5%, 4%. Just a couple of years ago, if you had decent credit, you could get 2.5%.
But after now, that's still 3.5% is still excellent. That's still not bad. That's what I'm saying. That's still not bad.
No, listen, coming from the world that we used to know, this is like getting away with murder, but it is increasing, and Uncle Sam is going to, over the next year, they're going to have to, every time the Fed meets, they're going to increase rates, probably 0.5%, 1%, until they see inflation stops dead in its track, right?
Well, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
under the which you've been sharing, which has been monetary gains, as a society as a whole, we don't really own or manufacture anything as individuals.
Correct.
Now, what I'm advocating for is to possess things that allow us to own and control narratives. So Bitcoin, you can't own anything. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Coin, those coins are transactional coins. You know, there's no real utility tie behind it. You might get into liquidity pools, but a lot of those are very scamish. It's hard to find the fair ones. You got to get in early to make those kind of money. But then you have other ones like, I just wanted to do a quick reference, Galacoin. Galacoin is a wonderful reference reference to what I'm advocating for in the space of digital node of value. So Gala Games is a publishing company that makes mobile games and PC games. You play on PC as well, and they have a coin. And
Yeah,
this
Gala just partnered with Epic as well. Like Gala's gonna be huge.
Gala is huge, and so Gala uses their coins for purchasing. They use the coin for exchange interactions. And when I say purchasing, in-game purchasing.
Correct. Yeah.
And you also have to have a certain amount of Gala to own a node, which gives you authority right to participate in the ecosystem and help manage it. Now, NFTs, as you referenced, every item that is created essentially in these games are NFTs. They're very unique items.
They're NFTs,
so when you own this, they give you an NFT. It's a little sword or whatever the case is. So Gala Games is a great representation of what I'm advocating for. So when you buy into Gala Game early, you're buying into a position where you participate in the gaming infrastructure of this publishing company, which will give you coin and assets that your kids can participate in, you can participate in, or you can resell to people who are interested in the game, as well as able to, well, and it's really limited. There's other coins that give you voting rights and all kind of extra stuff, but when we're talking about the monetary gains, it's so limited because as society becomes more and more into this metaverse situation, Web3 situation, it becomes more of because entertainment is really,
it's a big thing.
It's never going anywhere.
It's a big deal.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying in regards to these digital nodes of value, because these are access points to entertainment, to access. You have coins that literally you can use to give secured information to federal or governmental institution. Like there's so many companies that are creating these platforms within these blockchains that you have to use their coins to facilitate. And that's what I'm advocating for. Whether, a coin goes up in value or goes down, you still need Chuck E. Cheese coin to play their games.
Right. But
and so
David, so what you're advocating and what I'm advocating are kind of similar, but let me tell you why they're similar. But I go one step further. I say, why the hell do you need Gala coin? Why don't you create your own? That's what I'm getting at. In other words,
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, because the value, the added values is, you can create those. We need to start thinking literally outside of the box in a sense, because when you see NFTs, it is just a manifestation of a technology that was already there, that somebody come up and say, you remember years ago, they used to have a thing called pet rock.
Yes.
People used to buy pet rock, and people spent serious money on pet rock. Now, we look back and we laugh and say, what a stupid idea. But the guy who came up with it first probably made a killing doing it. No, I'm not advocating we go out and create stupid things like that. What I'm saying is that we need to start to think about technology in a more utilitarian factor. In other words, how do we use it? How do we leverage the technology to get us an end result that we're trying to do. So one of the challenges, take mobile money, for example, mobile money in Africa. It arose out of the fact that very few people had banking institutions. In other words, they had no bank accounts, but they all had cell phones. So some enterprising person looked at it and says, wait a second, they have to pay their bills. So why not just add on this banking function on top of that? That is where that's what I'm trying to say, that when you hear about blockchain, the real value of blockchain is not these cryptocurrencies. The real value of blockchain is all the stuff you can use it for. And we need to start to think about it. And there are enough people in our community when if we get together and talk, we will see, and use cases will come up where we can tie these cryptocurrencies, sorry, not cryptocurrencies, these algorithms, because it's not just blockchain, there's a whole bunch of other algorithms that go along with these things. But we can tie these algorithms to making an infrastructure that then people can buy into and get real value. Because what you're describing to me is you're describing the process after somebody did all the thinking up front and created this environment. And now you're describing to me perfectly well what the environment is capable of. I'm saying, dude, we have so many brilliant people. We need to start thinking, how the heck do we come up with these values up front, these infrastructure up front, right?
So with that being said, if we created our own currency within the Pan-African movement, in order for that coin to operate outside our ecosystem, we need a syntax that allows us to be interchangeable with other wallets, or, keep it simple, other wallets. Now, one thing that companies are doing is to mitigate that level of writing. They create their blockchain within a blockchain they feel is going to be popular. Like
they're piggybacking off an existing, because you can go into for example, you can go in and because again, you did a perfect example, a perfect description of how you add value within a currency. Now, I am going one step further, and I'm saying, let's not think about currency for a second. Let's just think about ideas, concepts.
Okay.
If I came to you and I said, look, I am going to send you an envelope, and in that envelope is going to be a secret algorithm, right? If you believe that my knowledge is such that I have this knowledge, then, and I said, but you have to give me $1 for that thing, you might go and say, because based on the knowledge, say, this guy might know something, let me give you $1 for it, right? In other words, you're creating a value system out of that. We need to do the same thing. We shouldn't just think of it as currencies, because currencies it's one application. It's a tiny application on a much bigger playing field.
Right. I'm with you.
There's way more money to be made. For example, right now, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, if you don't know what it is, it's 54 African countries came together, decide they all want to play ball. They want to trade amongst each other. So they came up with this new agreement that they ratified in 2020 and kicked off in 2021. Bottom line is, though, they can trade amongst each other. The mechanism in how you trade from one country to the other country is through the US dollar. And that is not a viable way to trade, because the exchange of money, you lose value. Every time you exchange money, you go from one currency to another currency, you lose value. So
and you pay a fee.
Right. So here's a perfect application where crypto, the whole cryptography, the whole blockchain can be used. Where let's say you are in Nigeria, I buy from you, I use a version of our blockchain where where you give me what you consider to be $10, all right, and I send you a product for $10. Now I turn around and I use that same currency in I pay somebody half of that in, say, South Africa. Again, it's a form of currency, but it is built on trade as opposed to just a speculative currency where somebody, because you'd have to be in the trading platform to be able to use it, as opposed to just somebody coming in and saying, listen, I'm just going to buy some of these things for speculation purposes, right? You'd need a tangible reason for getting in. Those are massive ways to make money off these technologies. What you're hearing people talk about now is just a tiny, tiny, tiny version of it. And as I said before, a lot of these currencies have speculation built into it. I don't know what percentage of it is speculation. I don't have that research, but I do know that a portion of it, a significant portion of it, and by significant, it could be anything over 20%, is speculation price. So there is speculation and then there is utility. I do not know the ratio between those two, but I do know it exists. So for me, I say to people, learn about the technologies behind it, because the technologies behind it have much, 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 much more uses than the specific currency itself. And I think you brought up yesterday that you could even use it with real estate. And that is true.
So what you're referencing is remittance coins. So that would be XRP and Stellar. You know, Stellar is supposed to be for the people and XRP is for the institutions. For us to tap into the global, well, the continent trade agreement that's happening in Africa, we would have to create a platform that does, keep it simple, cross-border payments. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess what I'm running into kind of a pause is that I understand, yes, let's work on creating an economic infrastructure that, you know, we own and control and we go through no one else. And, you know, that's fine and dandy. And we can work on that as a long-term goal. But while we're trying to find the individuals that are willing and capable to write these lines of code to make this happen, it's also a good idea to create platforms that create the base, because you have a front end and a back end. And while we're creating the back end infrastructure, we should have a front end that's in operation. Let the people work with it, like Tailcoin, and see how that interacts. So Tailcoin is, I think you know what Tailcoin is, right?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
So Tailcoin.
Yeah. Tell me more about Tailcoin. I'm familiar with it. I know there's something about in Nebraska pass, but go ahead. Go ahead.
So Tailcoin, it's like it's a form of fintech that allows people to use a payment system using their phone provider, as opposed to paycheck. So it's like, hey, you know, I need to send something to somebody, and I'm going to send this money using the Tailcoin, and my phone provider will charge me, you know, the difference, you know, whatever the case is. So your seller provider kind of like helps facilitate and almost loans you the money. I'm pretty sure there's got to be like a credit system that validates how much money you're actually allowed to send to and from, and everybody won't have the same amount per se. But Tailcoin is a type of fintech that allows people to send money to one another using their cellular provider of their, you know, their country or neighborhood or town or whatnot. Those are the type of things that I'm advocating for as well, but I'm advocating for it in the sense of us getting in there and getting enough of us to build within, because you can always detach. This whole cryptocurrency blockchain situation is a detachment of an age-old economic infrastructure that thought would never be, and now we're sitting here talking about Bitcoin. And that's the same thing. We can sit here and build a platform within a blockchain now while we are working on the back end blockchain of ourselves. And the only thing we're changing, no one would ever notice, because the name, the brand is still there. So I'm with you with the understanding of we need to have our own, but we need to get the game running now. And if people understand that this coin here, not in the sense, I'm with you, I'm not in it for the value, I'm in it for the utility. And if you understand that this coin, this Tailcoin, is going to be the mode of transaction in your country, because this fintech got the agreement within the company, Stellar Lumens got the agreement with Nigeria, XRP got the agreement with China and India, and they're going to be using that remittance, and you have it ahead of the game before it becomes, more greater value, then you're already there doing your transactions. Right. So I'm with you on that.
What you're describing there is you're saying, and it's practical in the sense where you say, look, if you, it's like saying, I know an highway is going to pass here, past my house, past this piece of woods. I'm going to buy a piece of land there while nobody's thinking about it, because when that highway is cut, I'll be sitting on a lot of money because it'll have value then. It might seem like crazy when you're buying the land at first because everybody think, hey, this guy's going to the bush to buy land, not realizing there's a road or highway that's going to come through and make you a fortune. By the time everybody else realizes they're paying you 16 times what you paid for the bloody land. So that's what you're talking about. And I have no problem with that. We talked about the fact that people should invest responsibly. But the biggest thing we should do is also get them to sort of think about it from an educational perspective, because the more you know, the better off you are in terms of taking advantage of these things. I happen to come from the world of, I build things. I said to you earlier that I built systems for Citibank, billions of dollars moved through the system. So that's the world I come from. So I always think perspective. I have a bias because I always think, okay, how do we build something? How can we, get our people together and build something, and then present that to the world? Because at the end of the day, that's what we have to do if we really want to value. Because those people who came up with the system before, and this reminds me of. It reminds me so much of a thing called multi-level marketing. Where our people are never the first group to get in to make that money. It's always 19 levels or 6, 7. I don't know how it works exactly, but the point is there it's some levels down the road where and you have to work as hard and you get nothing out of it. We need to start to think about it from the development, because trust me when I tell you, these things that these guys are coming up with are not that difficult to come up with. It's funny. As a technologist myself, it's easier for somebody to come to me and says, hey, I want to do this. And I say, here's how you do it. In other words, you might come up with a beautiful idea for a currency or some way of using the particular technology. You come to somebody like me and ask, how do I make this happen? And I can tell you, but I might not have ever come up with the idea myself that you're going to apply it to. So this is why you need all kinds of people in the picture. You need the people who know the technology, the people who know the business, the people who know people. You need all of those together to create this environment where we can put that together. Years ago, I don't want to date myself, but I'm much older than both of you. But years ago, I went to City Chase, and I said to Chase, there's this particular technology you can use where you can send a check to somebody via email. And they looked at me like I had 4 heads. This is way back in the day. Well, I don't have to explain to you what happened to that technology and how pervasive it is now today. We need to start to come up with those. And because it's the energies we spend being creative within somebody's space, I think we will get more if we come up with the original idea, come up with the original mechanism, and then deploy it. Right. And I think that when our people see us successful, like I said, if you want all African Americans to show up in Africa, get 10 of your friends to go to Africa with a few dollars in their pocket and come back filthy rich, and see how fast people figure out how to get a passport and how to get on a plane to Africa, because they will have seen it, right? Whether in their head it's a get rich quick scheme, whatever the case may be. Johnny came back from Africa and he's rich. Mary came back from Africa and she's filthy rich. Therefore, I don't know exactly what's happening in Africa, but I do know that everybody, and the same thing happened, by the way, with immigration back in the days when people were leaving Europe. The cousin come back to Europe on a boat and he was living large. So what do you think? Half of Italy and half of what's the place? Ireland showed up in New York at Ellis Island because of what it is. The same thing could be true in Africa. If we come up with these algorithms, and the things that Africa needs are opportunities for us. Africa's problems are opportunities. significant opportunities for Africans and African Americans. And
let me chime in on that, because that's why I keep advocating for Dynasty to really be more voiceful with its nonprofit. And also maybe Dynasty, if you're listening, add not just a tour of an area, but almost like a what do they call those people? Those Christian people that go to Africa to try to
missionaries.
Help? Yeah, missionary. But we have the same initiative where you do like a think tank or business thing where you go in. Like right now, you got that project where you're building and you're about 1,800 short from it. Same thing, except you have a tour where you have a bunch of developers or people with certain skill sets can go there and participate on a single project of that capacity. So the school, like if you're building a school, the next project would be like, all right, we're gonna do an expansion for I guess just to keep it simple, a tech department where they're gonna learn how to do front end development. And then so everyone comes in and they pool their money in for the computers. They pick whatever website or whatever case is, and they buy the necessary books. And they even have a group of individuals make videos where they show how to, do whatever application that they're going to do on a script. And we just have those initiatives where, like, your tour in Sierra Leone is between 3,000 to the 4,000. Have that kind of same thing with the flight and hanging out there for a week while they're engaged in building up these projects where we go in and we put the solar panels in and we learn how to integrate these circuitries to make that work. And when we started working on, transferring servers and building up an internal internet network system, that's tapped into the satellite and blah, 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 blah. And maybe that can be one of those type of initiatives that we can push forward as we finish these lives,
No, absolutely. Makes sense. Absolutely.
The Dynast is in a good position, by the way, because he has a good understanding of Africa, and he has a very good understanding of America. Obviously, he was born here, so he has a very good understanding of America. So he's got it for two places. And whoever said that a second passport is not good has no idea. Someone once said that if you speak 4 languages, you're educated in 4 languages. So that's important. With respect to real estate, as I said, because the topic is versus real estate, there's no versus anything, to be honest with you. If you ask me, everything has its use. Home ownership in our community is very low. I mentioned on one previous one of these shows that Harlem is changing drastically. We think of Harlem as a black Mecca, but it is changing very rapidly. And it will not be a black Mecca very soon, because when we had the chance to buy, we didn't buy, we rather rent. And I knew people who could buy who would rather rent. So we have to change that mindset as well. The American dream is that you come to the United States, or if you're born here, and you get a home, a wife, a dog, 1.5 kid, and I guess the half kid is the dog. But that is the American dream, and it is doable. But a lot of people are not taking the time to, they've been battered and beaten for so many years with so many challenges that has come their way, that we who come from the outside, because I'm an outsider, have to do 2 things. One, always thank the people who were here first, because they did all the heavy lifting, so that people like me can come in and take advantage of the beautiful things that America has to offer. So we, the outsiders who came in, have to be thankful to Americans, especially Black Americans, because the truth is that they did so much heavy lifting that we're in a position now to take advantage of these things. And we who are here now needs to go the next step and look at Africa and say, what can we do to enrich Africa and also enrich ourselves? Africa doesn't want our charity. Africa doesn't need our charity. Africa needs our investment. When you invest, you expect a return on your investment. if you were to buy a McDonald's franchise in Africa, it is a fraction of what it would cost here. But you wouldn't also be competing with the McDonald's down the street and the McDonald's across the corner and the McDonald's up the road. You might be the only McDonald's in town. So you have an advantage. There are a lot of opportunities to invest on the continent while still remaining in America. You don't have to leave America necessarily to go, but you certainly should go to see, because if you don't go to see, then I mentioned earlier, I think Dynast mentioned that some in Sierra Leone, the airport is being built by an African-American company. I want to hear that story repeated millions of times, because it means that the revenue that is being generated is coming back into our community between here and there. Too many, Uganda almost lost its airport because the people who did it are not from the continent. And frankly, I don't even know how they picked the $200 million they borrowed to do it, how they arrived at that number. But nevertheless, there are significant opportunities for us on the continent. We just have to those of us who have the knowledge and the means to put together programs that can help and that can facilitate, like Dynast. You know what, Dynast is sitting on a gold mine, but he doesn't I'm sure he knows, but I don't know how he knows how big a gold mine he's sitting on, because Dynast, a lot of African Americans could benefit from investing on the continent. What that would do, as I said, we have access to little over $2 trillion US dollars in assets and information at our disposal, at our control, right? We investing in Africa doesn't mean you have to go there and spend every penny. And I wouldn't recommend anybody go there and invest in one item. Like any prudent investment, you have to diversify, right? So you might pick 2, 3, 4 countries and decide, I'm going to put a little bit here, there. So that if one country goes nuts, you can say, okay, it's just one country. I've got my other 3. But those are things that we can do starting right now. And David, you said that that the putting these programs together, they're a lot easier than we think. The technology, we're not reinventing the wheel. Blockchain is a solid technology that's been around for nearly 40 years, 50 years, right? So it's not new. The application of it is new. Anytime you hear, so Dave & Buster's, when you use, Dave & Buster's is doing a implementation that has been used by casinos for the last, however many years. When you go to a casino, the first thing they do is change your money into chips. Why? Because they know that when people gamble with chips, they don't see it as money. So they gamble more freely with it. Now, on the way out, if you were a winner, which is rare, you can change the chips back to, American currency or wherever. If you're in the Bahamas, you convert it to American currency or Bahamian dollars. The point is, they're using a proven existing technology in a way that makes them money. And these technologies that we're talking about, the algorithms behind it, the things that go behind it are so straightforward and simple. And I know my wife tells me, don't say that. It's simple to you, but it's not simple to everybody else. But the truth is they are proven, existing. And what is missing is the association of that. Like I said to you, you could probably come up with a use case 10 times faster than I could. So I have the algorithm, you have the use case, you put the two together. You get the idea what I'm saying? And this is true in our community, so many of us, right? I am sure Dynast goes to Africa, and when he's on his way on the plane back and forth, he looks through the window and he sees some business idea and he's like, okay, man, this would be cool if I could do this. But maybe the idea or the brains to do it is right next to him. He doesn't know that. But until he comes back and start talking to somebody and investigate to see if there is a way to do it, nothing is going to happen, right? Nothing is going to happen. And we have to change that. we have to start to think about it from the origination side, not
Well,
just from the information side.
that's what he's going to be doing with his nonprofit as he's perpetuating the initiative. So when he does
Yes.
his tours, and I don't know, but I follow. So when he does his tour, he's very informative. He breaks everything down. So when he said he's going to start adding this kind of opportunity tours, and so with that, I'm pretty sure when he has these great ideas, he's going to, because he's actually asked people with certain skill sets, hey, if you have the skill set, shoot me an email and all those things. So, you know, it's just a matter of support and participation. So if I'm going to sit here and talk to Dynast about an opportunity, you know, I'm going to contribute. You know, I'm whether it's monetary, whether it's skill set, whether it's boots on ground, you know, whatever the case is, you know, I have put in some work back in 2019. Shameless plug, you know, the Black Agenda Tour. Shout out to Michi X, Michelle. Appreciate all the little love and everything I got from that time. But you know,
Hey, Dave, can I ask a question? Kind of the sidebar.
man?
You brought up the Black Agenda Tour. What exactly happened between? You know, I just want to get understanding between. I guess her and David Banner.
Long story, yeah.
it's not a long story. It's not a long story, and I don't really have the right to say anything about that.
Okay. No worries.
But what I can say is that Michelle is 110% what you see is what you get with her. There is nothing like, oh, no, what you see is what you get. So understand that she puts her trust in people as I'm perpetuating as well, in regards to if I'm offering an opportunity or an option, I need to be able to assist you if you're willing to apply it in your platform. So when Michelle has an idea or people propose an idea, she'll support it, and she will assume that the people that are behind her or next to her to do their part without any malicious agenda tied behind it. And there's a lot of miscommunication because you know there's a lot of passion behind our people. And so with the whole David Banner situation, there's nothing more than just a form of miscommunication and differences in agendas. And so the tour was successful. We completed it. She completed it, and it had a magnificent turnout in the end. And I'm very thankful for the time that I was in it and working with it, and I appreciate her bringing me on board at the time that I was. And what she's doing now, you know, is pretty consistent. Like, you cannot take away what EGX is doing. Like, she's very consistent in what she is, and what you see is what you get.
Okay, cool, perfect.
Dennis, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Why? Okay, you know this FBA and the works. You get the idea. I think you probably know what I'm going to ask you. But why? Okay, the people who are advocating, you know, essentially sticking here and not doing anything, right, and the people who say, look, you need to go to Africa, pack up everything and go to Africa.
Okay.
Why do you think there is such an extreme in the community that it has to be one way or no way? I'm always curious as to why that is.
Well, but I think the group that's saying you know, pack up and move to Africa is so far few in between versus I mean, the majority of Black Americans not going anywhere. They're here. I mean, they don't see life outside of America for some reason. They can't imagine an existence outside of America. Part of it's the media. Part of it is this idea that, you know, I so-called built this country and I have as much right to it as anybody else, so I'm not going to go anywhere. And then also too, when you know, and to stick on that point, also when you think of America, America's the most powerful country, so-called, on the planet. So, the average Black American, they see themselves in a position of power here in America. So it's like, why would I leave? Well, why would I leave this to go
Right.
somewhere else?
But okay. So the reparations movement. I know this is not on topic, but just curious. So the reparations movement, are they, just to make sure I understand their position, are they saying that they're okay? Are they expecting a cash deposit to some
They're not.
at
They're
some point?
expecting the cash deposit, but they're not getting the cash. It's not going to happen. So in California, I guess it's moving forward as far as this resolution for reparations, but they're talking about raising minimum wage. So the options they mentioned is raising minimum wage. What else was there? Raising minimum wage, grants, grants for businesses, and then college tuition. Those are the options right now on the table. But you hear this cut the check. I want my cash. It's not going to happen.
I heard for Juneteenth, I heard somebody on the radio talking about I forgot the name of the person because I actually came in when they were speaking. But they said something that I thought was, I don't know. I mean, I'd never heard anybody say this before. And what their position was, they said we make up 10% of the population. So if we make up 10% of the population, for his argument was that everything must be distributed in 10% form, meaning that if there's a job, if there's a company that opens, 10% of the people should be us. If there is a loan, yeah, if there's a loan, 10% of the terms must be the same, but the 10% of the loans must go to the community. In other words, they must be equal across the board, no matter which way you put it. And in other words, I guess the contention, he didn't say this, but because I didn't hear the whole thing, but I'm assuming that he's saying that if given the same playing field with all the same terms, that over time we'll make necessary adjustments and we'll see a significant gain. I think that's what he was saying, but he didn't make that conclusion. I am making the conclusion, but I didn't hear the whole thing. Have you heard anything like that before?
I have not, but see, the issue with the whole 10% of jobs is we had our own businesses. We chose to integrate. So now we want to integrate and tell non-Black people you need to give us 10% of your jobs when we had our own businesses and hotels. I mean, it's goofy. I mean, think about it. You want to see, in the words of Holism, is called militant integration. Like it's being a militant.
Wow.
And it's militant integration. Like
yeah.
We're gonna bum rush your corporate job and force you to give us 10% of the jobs.
There was no concept in that conversation about ownership, and clearly ownership is
right.
Is
that's the problem. When we had our own industries and our own businesses, but we gave all that up. And I think that's the underlying issue that people want to avoid. Like in the 60s, we chose integration. We gave all of that up. So why are you guys crying now? Like you guys, this is what you guys chose. All right, this is what you guys marched for. This is what you guys bled for. Bloody Sunday at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Boycotted. You guys did all this for integration, not for reparations, but for integration. To be considered a
question for you. Question for you. When in the 60s, I guess 62, 63, I guess they had this. They sorted out. I think Johnson or whoever it is sorted it out. But in the 60s, because before that there was significant racial segregation in America, legal in many cases, or yes, I would say legal segregation. When these people were demonstrating, did anybody say to them that when because I'll use a school example. We had a higher percentage of people who were educators that had a master's degree as teachers, as principals, and so forth. And once integration took place, the because now everything was one giant melting pot, we lost a lot of academia, meaning we lost principals, we lost teachers, because now when you're hiring, it used to be that, let's say a small town had a white administration, but they also had the schools that they hired people for in the white community were white teachers, and in the black community, black teachers. But once integration took place, we didn't get the mass movement of black teachers over into the white schools. We have the reverse, meaning a mass movement of teachers over into the black community, and a significant chunk of black educators were simply wiped out, which led to the fact that a lot of our kids didn't see any role models. Do you think when they were marching that this was game planned out, or they just wanted the relief and never thought the process through?
Well, they said at the end that Martin Luther King said that, I regret that I integrated us into a burning house. I think they thought it through, but at the same time, you understand, white people, Jews in particular, were heavily influential in the civil rights movement. Like, they funded it. Mm-hmm. So you had people with completely different, who had their own agenda outside of what black people were wanting, that were able to come and influence the movement. Then afterwards, I think that's when MLK pretty much had his come to Jesus moment, but it was too late.
Okay. When you, David, when did you grow? Are you from the north or the south?
San Diego.
Oh, so you're west, man. You're not even close. You're way west. I was gonna ask you the experience, because I know Dynasty is from west.
Well, I can share this. Coming from San Diego, it's a very, very different reality. Something that I thought was, I had two paradigm shifts. One when I was 16, and I learned the term token black. And then one when I was 25, when I realized that black people worked in, things more than fast food and retail. That wasn't a reality that I grew up with in San Diego. And then I got into other career opportunities, and I, met mentors, and they gave me the opportunity to travel the nation and see, black people as a whole. So I've been, a lot of the states, and I've seen, seen a lot in regards to the north of the states and the south of the states, in regards to the original colonies, if you want to be specific.
Did you say you were 25 when you you're
yeah,
25?
I'm 38 now, but
okay,
yeah, I was
but you say you were 25 when you realized.
When I realized that Black Americans did more than just work retail and fast food.
Wow. I'm surprised. Let me tell you why I'm surprised. I'm surprised because San Diego, you think San Diego is San Diego. It's
San Diego, but if you've been in San Diego, you know what the population.
I've been there, but I don't know the place. But I've been there. I've passed through. Let's put it that way. So I don't really know the place, but
only way
visiting,
you pass it through is going to Tijuana. You going to Club Revolution?
I went to see a friend who was there, and the friend left. But yes, you'd be heading south, and I've actually walked across the border, but that wasn't there. It was in Tucson, where you walk across the border over there to go shopping and come back. Let me tell you why I say I'm surprised. I'm surprised because what I'm hearing, what you said there now is, Dynast, when did you realize that America was the way America is, or I get the modern understanding you have of America? What age?
Expand on that. Like when you say America, like
Okay, so
like
David said that he was 25 when he recognized that, hey, listen, black folk do more than just the basic jobs.
okay.
For you, when did you realize that black folks are in every aspect of society, top, bottom, and in between?
When I moved to Georgia, because I'm from Sacramento, California, and outside of barbershops, I mean, black people really didn't own anything like, as far as like businesses outside of barbershops. So I
Okay.
would say, and like my father, he was like one of the first black real estate brokers in Sacramento. So it's just, again, outside of retail, like he said, retail and fast food. I mean, in barbershops, that's pretty much what we did until I moved to Georgia. Then I saw a lot more like black owned like businesses, restaurants, a little bit of everything.
What that tells me is that we are in a media desert. We're in a media desert. And I mean, think of the Kalahari, think of the Sahara, meaning because by 14, 15, that should be, there should be a commanding understanding of that. And you guys are educated. So I can only imagine what the rest of the community is facing. Because, for some people, I guess it might be 30 years old. We have a lot of work to do in terms of the community to try to get the community to understand all the possibilities in America. Coming from the outside of America, we always, there's the visual presentation of America by its media. That's anybody who tells you that from the outside will mostly influenced by American media. And what we saw, we did see black folk in America doing well, but because we sort of imagined that America was so wealthy that if you showed up on the door, even if you're a black person there, you're bound to have quite a bit because the country is so wealthy. It's like, there's the streets are paved with cheese if you're a rat, so to speak. So it's a matter of you picking up what stop and pick up. That's the concept that was presented to us, because everything we saw said America is powerful, America is rich, America is wealthy. And when we have family members who would travel to the United States and come back and tell us the tales of these massive highways with 6 lanes one way or 5 lanes one way, which we couldn't imagine because we never saw anything like that. Or for many people, for many people, the fact that the person who is in the projects is probably considered living good compared to subsistence farming in a small town in some part of the world. It really, so when you come here, you get that education real fast, the same education you guys got. But what we got mostly was that it is not as easy as it looks from the outside. You have to come here and hustle and put your pennies together, work together as a team if you want to build something. So if you're an immigrant coming into the country, the concept of working together is forced upon you whether you like it or not, because more than likely you have to come here and stay with an uncle, a cousin, an aunt, a nephew, a niece, whoever it is, some family member. So you are introduced to America in a team effort. And it helps in the long run because that team effort then spills into, buying things. We were talking about real estate earlier, and I said we don't do much of combining and buying real estate because one individual might not be able to come up with the down payment of it, but we don't think of going to a cousin or brother, a nephew, an uncle or aunt, or say, hey, let's buy something together. So that,
I don't know, man. That 2020 susu, there was a lot of water and flowers at that time. Everybody was getting watered.
Okay,
well,
good.
Okay, yeah, okay. What happened? What happened with the 2020 susu? What happened, David? And then we got to close out. David, what happened with the 2020 susu? Like, what happened?
Yo, outside of Cash App saying we gonna stop this and blah blah blah. What I learned, there's a lot of B-list celebrities that were like on the top of that pyramid. When I learned that was interesting to me. I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you convincing people to do this little susu, $500, and everybody put, yeah, okay, that, oh, Jesus Christ, it was just, that was a Ponzi scheme of all Ponzi schemes, and you had to get in early, like Bitcoin liquidity. You got to get in early. You got to be on the top of the pyramid to get your money, because if you coming in, 2-3 months after it started, you about to just feed the monsters from the top part, because that's pretty much what it is. Whoever started the flower, whoever like that top pyramid, that's who always benefited from the flowering, and everyone else was just scrambling to get people to get their little water in. But the top people always got paid because everybody's scrambling to get water. That was just a bad thing. Susu is an indigenous thing, but the way they did it was very Ponzi. So yeah.
That's not Susu. That's Ponzi.
No. Well, they use the term.
Right, they use the term Susu. They use the term.
Yeah, but that's not Susu. That's not even close to Susu. That's just Ponzi scheme. I mean, you can call a dog, you can call a dog an elephant, but it's still a dog.
Right. Yeah, so that's what. But they called it Susu. But guys, we're about to we're gonna close out.
All right.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. We'll be back on tomorrow, and then also tomorrow night with Kala. Oh, Nigeria, August 8th through the 17th. If you're interested in rolling, go to Danfo.Africa. Then Sierra Leone, November 20th through December 3rd. Citizenship is available. Oh, here we go. Bam, there we go. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. So until next time, peace.
Peace.
Hey.